This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast.
Welcome to Finish Lines and Milestones, a podcast for everyday runners. I'm your host, Allie Bretnacher, and if you run, you're a runner, and every runner has a story. Join me each week as I share these stories and we celebrate finish lines and milestones together. This week's episode is brought to you by Foot Levelers. Foot Levelers is a world leader in custom level orthotics. They are not one size fits all. They are completely customized to your feet through a scan or a mold of your feet so that you get support that is unique as your running stride. It is 3-arch support. So other inserts that you might have tried typically only support one arch. Foot Levelers supports all 3 arches of your foot, creating a stable foundation for your entire body, which helps with proper alignment for your entire body. It helps reduce stress on your knees, hips, spine. It is obviously great for runners to help prevent injury and also for anybody who's dealing with lower back pain from daily life, which is my life in a nutshell as a mom of little kids. There are also options for any type of shoe and lifestyle, so it's not just for running shoes. So whether you're logging miles or you're working on your feet all day, Foot Levelers has orthotics that would work for you. And if you are interested in learning more about Foot Levelers, actually this week, Lindsay Hine on her podcast, I'll Have Another with Lindsay Hine, features Jamie Greenawalt, the president of Foot Levelers, in her Wellness One series. So it's a perfect opportunity to meet Jamie and just get to know more about that business. And she speaks really well on all of this in more detail. Plus, she's a badass mom of 2 as well. So head over there, listen to that. And then if you're interested in learning more about the product or finding a place to get fitted, you can go to footlevelers.com and enter your zip code to find a provider near you. Thank you so much to Foot Levelers for supporting this podcast. Okay, it is an absolute miracle that I'm getting this episode out. I was talking to Lindsay Hine, who's the founder of Sandy Boy Productions, earlier today about an event we're doing in November for the Monumental Marathon. And I just was telling her all this stuff that was going wrong with the software that I used to edit, yada, yada. Anyway, long story short, she was just like, Allie, it's okay not to put out an episode. You can just put out an episode saying you're not going to put out an episode this week because of all the stuff you have going on. Tell people how excited you are about your marathon. So what's great is that I'm putting out a full episode today, somehow, some way. So there's that. But I'm also really excited to be going to run a marathon. So I'm heading to Marine Corps Marathon in DC tomorrow, the day that this episode comes out, October 24th. And I will be pushing for a full 26.2, pushing for Ainsley's Angels, an organization who helps people who cannot run experience the finish line. So I am lending my legs, as they say. And my angel is Melissa. So I will be in hot pink, pushing Melissa by myself, just the 2 of us, for 26.2 miles throughout DC. So my entire family is coming to support me, my kids, my husband, my dad is running as well. And so I can't wait to tell you all about it after I survive, hopefully. So thank you to Lindsay for talking me off the ledge. And for this week's episode, I am thrilled to introduce you to Gareth Wilford. He is one of the owners of Athletic Annex, our local run specialty store, and he's just incredible. This is a long episode, but it's worth every minute, I promise. Gareth has amazing stories. Ironically, he's from South Africa, and if you follow running news, Cape Town, South Africa is slated to become a world major marathon, and they were supposed to have a race last weekend that was unfortunately canceled due to high winds. Well, during this episode, Gareth and I talk about how windy it is in South Africa. It's specifically in Cape Town. But as we also discuss in this episode, Cape Town is actually scheduled to be in May of next year. Because of them switching to become a world major, they kind of have to schedule around the other ones. And so May is a gap in their schedule. And Gareth is the first South African I've had on this podcast, and this was his very first podcast interview, which blows my mind, especially when you hear about how talented of a runner he is and everything he does for our running community. I just can't believe nobody else has interviewed him, so I'm honored to be the first. We talk all about growing up in South Africa, a lot of his running there. We go on some tangents that are really good, really interesting. We talk about how he got to Indy, how he ended up with Athletic Annex and his work there. We talk about his family, how Halloween is his wedding anniversary, and the super romantic story about how he proposed to his wife, which is not very romantic at all. It's a good one. But we talk about his more recent running journey at London Marathon, New York City, rim to rim to rim. He's also really into photography. So Gareth is an awesome cheerleader. We're so lucky to have him in Indianapolis. And he also brought me 2 gifts. So he might be my favorite podcast guest of all time. I really hope you enjoy this conversation with Gareth as much as I did. Good morning, Gareth. Welcome.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Yeah.
I have no idea how we're going to fit all your stories into about 90 minutes, but
I'll do my best.
we're gonna see
We're
what
going to
we
do
can
our best. All right. Let's do it.
I want to start with your first, you say your first memory
Yeah.
is of running.
It is. And I'm not pandering to a running podcast.
Like you really,
But it
serious.
really is I have 2 memories that I believe are my first memories.
Okay.
The first memory is, so I grew up in South Africa, and we grew up in this cul-de-sac. We don't call them cul-de-sacs.
I was going to say, what
no,
are
we
they
don't.
called in
we
South
call
Africa?
them dead ends.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
don't know why. and if first of all, if you grew up on a cul-de-sac, you were royalty because kids were out in mass, and all kids congregated in cul-de-sacs. But
Yes.
That's a different story. No, my formative memories in life were we lived on the east side of Johannesburg in a suburb called, this was Hurleyvale, and our house was on the corner of a main road and a cul-de-sac, and I remember very clearly across the road there was this open field. It was a road, a field, and then a river. And my dad always used to say, "Let's run to the shops." And so we didn't have supermarkets that were like aggregators of groceries, like Walmart. You had your store, then you had your butcher, you had your bakery,
Baker.
and then you had your like fruits and veg, you know.
And
And
did
so
you have a milkman?
we did have a milkman actually, yeah, and delivered the bottles and all that
Yeah.
to our door. We did have a
Okay,
milkman.
okay.
But I remember very vividly, my dad used to love reading the newspaper, and this was before they would deliver the newspaper. And so every night when he got home from work, we used to run to the store, and it was a race. And that, honestly, that was my first like memory, because I think we did it a handful of times, or enough times that I would remember.
Yeah.
And I remember it was always a massive sprint, or in my eyes it was a sprint, and it felt like about a mile. Now I've been back.
Okay.
It's probably about 200 yards. So it's not a mile, but at the time, and no, that is my formative memory
That's so
of my
cool.
dad, just running to the store. And that's, yeah.
Would you run home or only there?
And I would have to run home, because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was a sprint there, and either a walk or a jog back. But
Depending on how much else you bought besides a newspaper, probably.
I feel like it was just a newspaper.
Okay.
And so then sometime, I don't think it was much more than that. But yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. My second memory,
Okay.
all right, is, do you know what a drag stairs, those racing cars that kind of race the quarter mile?
And they have the parachute thing?
Yes, the parachutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the back tires are infinitely bigger than the front tires, and my family are all or have been professional racing car drivers.
No.
Not me. I have zero skill. I'm the one outlier, by the way. We used to have racing tires in our house randomly, and we had this big tire. We used to call it a Mickey Thompson, because Mickey Thompson was a favorite racing brand, and we would get in this tire and roll down a hill. It was the most dangerous thing ever. But those are my 2 formative memories in life. So running and taking a laugh in our hands.
How would you, so in the tire, would you almost curl up into a ball
Yeah,
inside
remember,
of
we're
it?
tiny. You'd actually get into it, and you'd be able to sit and curve yourself around it. Yeah, you'd get in a ball. Yeah, and you just kind of hold on it, and you roll down hills.
And
yeah.
no helmets, probably.
No helmets,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
No,
That-
it's totally unsafe, yeah.
That's
We started
crazy.
in the yard, and we ended up in the cul-de-sac rolling down the road. And
Into the cul-de-sac,
yeah, just roll down the road, yeah.
Okay.
And you'd hope someone to stop you.
Right.
No, there was a main road, like literally
of course.
50 yards away. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you lived to tell the tale.
We lived to tell the tale.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing that you mentioned to me growing up in South Africa was the time that you grew up there in the apartheid.
Yeah.
And I'm so ignorant. I have no
Sure.
idea what that means.
So the genesis of apartheid is segregation based on race. Very similar to kind of the Jim Crow laws of the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, and this started in 1948 it was a government movement to segregate races based on color. Yeah. And so, so I grew up middle class white. So I had the benefits of all of that. The peak, what I call apartheid, where the government was bringing in the military to separate people, was 1987. So that was like the state of emergency. So yeah, I grew up in the peak of that. But I grew up on, I don't want to say the good side, I grew up on the safe side. And so, no, it's incredibly sad because I grew up running, playing sport, and as a kid, you're very ignorant of what's going on because it's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's just only until you start to see little things, and once your brain starts developing and you start to develop empathy for other people, you start to realize, A, it's different, and B, it's wrong, right? And so... And these little triggers started to kick in kind of around 14, 15, 16, because you would interact with different races and groups, and then everyone would go their separate ways. And it was incredibly sad. I mean, the final nail in the coffin for me was I was out of high school. I was actually recruited or conscripted to go to the army. And I would have been the final group of people to go in to fight for those rules, right?
Ooh.
And I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. And so I actually got a running exemption not to go to the army. And so, no, it was crazy.
That's nuts
No, it was
to think
totally
about
no,
what
it was
life could have
insane.
been like.
It's, and I look at it from a running point of view, and we'll kind of get into this, but I would go to these clubs, because clubs are big in South Africa, not the school system, and you're training these clubs, and you're trained with some incredibly talented athletes. And then my mother would drive me home and I'd have a meal prepared and all that sort of thing. And they were going to have to take the bus to these, in essence, they were like shanty towns. So they had, hardly any food, hardly any electricity. And they were performing, they were kicking my butt, left, right, and center. So in a very selfish running way, I just got to see like how privileged I was as a runner versus some of these other guys that didn't. And other than the whole, it's just an absolute wrong thing to do. That's when I started to realize, I'm like, well, this is not right, And so what do you do about it, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was interesting. Yeah.
That's a
interesting.
wild time.
It was a wild time. Yeah. Yeah.
And what city in South Africa?
So I was born in Cape Town. I was actually born in a small town called Bellville, which Cape Town, if you know the map of Africa, Cape Town is at the very bottom.
Okay. And it's on the coast.
It's on the coast. Yeah. Yeah. I was born about 20 minutes east in a town called Bellville, which means nothing to you other than the fact is the factory that built Belega socks was in Bellville.
No way.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if they do that anymore because I believe the brand was sold and it was part of a brand called Felke. But yeah, that's
wild.
So there's the tie-in, right? But Cape Town.
I love Belega socks.
No, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So I was literally born in a hospital, I think, down the road from the Belega sock factory. But I didn't grow up there. We moved to Johannesburg when I was about 2 or 3.
Okay, and where is that?
So Johannesburg is about 1,000 miles north, and it's it's a landlocked city.
Okay.
And that's about 1,400 kilometers, so call it 900 miles north of Cape Town.
Okay.
In the middle of kind of southern Africa.
Okay.
And it's 5,000 feet, so that helps running.
Yeah, certainly.
You run slower, but it helps when you're running. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When did you move? Like when you were
young.
Little,
Yeah. So my parents, my dad moved to Johannesburg because Johannesburg is like the central business district.
Okay.
Basically, for sub-Saharan Africa, if you do business or if you want, that's where the jobs were in Johannesburg.
Okay.
It's not a glamorous city. It's just a big city.
What's big?
Yeah. It's probably, I would say it's not as big as Chicago size-wise, but it's probably big as Chicago population-wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably 5 to 10, 15 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big city. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I think of the only two cities I know in South Africa are Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Yeah. So there's
At least I think.
it's fine. So Durban is a smaller kind of like a coastal town.
Okay.
Very similar to like a Miami. Not as glamorous as that, but that's kind of what it's like. That's where we used to go for vacations all the time. And then just north of Johannesburg is Pretoria, which is the capital.
Okay.
It's a little bit smaller, but that's what the capital city is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so did you have siblings? You have
Yeah.
siblings?
Yeah. I've got a younger sister and an older brother.
Okay, you're middle child.
I'm the middle child. I'll be the best. Are you you middle child?
No, I'm oldest.
You're oldest?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't know.
I'm the oldest of 3 girls.
I don't know. Is middle good or is middle bad? I don't know.
I mean, middle just is the
Just
kind
goes
of
with the flow?
Goes with the flow. The instigator learns from the oldest.
Oh no, that's not the case. My
Well, like second born.
my brother's a hooligan. So,
Nuts.
yeah.
Okay, you're older.
I think I am the temperate one
Yeah.
because my brother was such a hooligan growing up.
Yeah, that helps.
And then my sister was she was what we call a light lamaki, which is anything more than 4 or 5 years between kids, and means late lamb. So
Interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Oopsie baby.
Yeah.
But no, I think she just was just like, what are these guys doing?
Yeah, that's funny. And so you played a lot of sports growing up?
Yeah. And this is one of the things I love about my story growing up is that in South Africa, it's just you do everything. You don't have to. I think there's a little bit of a problem in the world right now where people are trying to specialize too early.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually to the detriment of just development in general. Mm-hmm. So luckily, I grew up right on the edge of a farming town. So I grew up playing rugby at a very early age, cricket, and then
Cricket's the horse.
No,
that's polo.
polo.
Okay, sorry. Cricket. What's cricket?
Cricket is.
You still have a mallet, right? With cricket?
No, it's a cricket
I
bat.
don't know.
You can call it a mallet if you want. It's basically, so the Commonwealth is like all the English countries. It's basically our version of baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I would argue it's better.
Okay. Well, I don't.
That's a dangerous thing to say in America.
Okay. Yeah, people are.
No, people aren't going to be happy about that. No, it's just so it's cricket.
Okay.
And then I did cross country and track and field. Actually, it's actually a pretty good high jumper, believe it or not.
And I did the high jump.
and soccer. I did club soccer for quite a long time.
And do they call it football in South Africa?
No, we call it soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah, there's this weird thing between football and soccer and all that.
Right.
No, we're not like got to be football, got to be soccer. It's like, no, it's football or soccer. It's fine.
Yeah. And language spoken, is it primarily English speaking in South Africa?
So not necessarily, no. So during apartheid, if you were English speaking, you had to learn Afrikaans as a secondary language. Afrikaans it's Old Dutch.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so when South Africa was being found, it was found as a trade route between kind of your England, Spain, Portugal. There was no cut through on the Red Sea. The Suez Canal wasn't there. Yeah. So
we need a map.
No, we didn't need a map. Yeah. So basically, just think about this. The route was if you wanted to get to the east, so China, Japan, you had to go all the way around under Africa to get up there, which is a long way.
Yeah.
So what they did was they went all the way down through Africa, and then they built these kind of like ports in southern Africa as kind of stop off, refuel, stop, and all that. And so it was really just a trade route port on the way to a trade route to the west or the east. And so the settlers there originally were French descent, Portuguese, because the Portuguese were the big explorers of the oceans many years ago, and then the Dutch. And the Dutch actually settled in Cape Town, that coast, and started to kind of move up into South Africa. And then when the English were taking over the world, they came from the north down, and the English came down and the Dutch came up and basically met in South Africa, basically what they did. So my heritage is English speaking, but because of the apartheid government, and they're so staunch, they wanted everyone to speak Afrikaans. So you had to learn Afrikaans as a secondary language or as a first language, so regardless of who you were. Yeah.
You still speak that?
I don't speak it to anybody.
Well, right.
But yeah, I can speak it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I'm like book fluent. So if I'm reading the book, I'm 100%. It would take me a while to kind of, because it's a very fast guttural language. So if you have to speak it,
Will you say something? Say something.
Goeiemorgen, which is good morning.
Okay.
Hoe gaan dit? How are you? Yeah.
Okay.
That's very language. Yeah. And so yes, I can speak it, and but I can understand it pretty much 100%.
Do you speak any other languages?
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought you were going to be like, well, then I speak French.
No.
I mean.
Oh, that could be pretty impressive, but no.
Yeah.
You would think because Afrikaans is a Dutch derivative, and Dutch and German, all those languages are very guttural. You'd think I'd pick those up. But
I don't know. I mean,
sorry, laziness.
Yeah. In Indiana, there's not like a huge application for speaking French.
No, but there's an application for learning another language. My wife always kind of ribs me or gets annoyed because I didn't teach my kids Afrikaans growing up as a stair step to another language.
Yeah.
And so Yeah. So,
Yeah, well. Yeah, I'm still trying to learn how to speak Spanish. Yeah, because I took it in high school and then a couple years in college. I wish I would have stuck with it.
Oh man.
But
that's my daughter. She's in the second year in college. She did Spanish in high school and she kind of didn't enjoy it. I'm like, just stick with it.
Yeah, it'd be so helpful.
First of all, it's helpful and it's such an amazing skill to have if you can speak another language, especially Spanish.
Yeah, totally. So when you were running cross country, track and field, when did you realize you were good?
Yeah, so again, I started off, I was always fast. I was nicknamed the Flash by this guy.
That's cool.
You know the Flash? Yeah. And it was a coach of my brother's baseball team, and he asked me to they didn't have enough players one day. So they were like, hey, can you come play? And I was terrible at baseball, but I could get on base. And then I'd like sprint as fast. And I remember the coach saying, man, you're really fast. You're like the Flash. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like the Flash. And so this was when I was like 5 years old.
That's
I thought it was the
great.
coolest thing. And I don't know if I was fast or not, but so then I started sprinting in school, and I was the fastest sprinter in school. So I'm like, yeah, I really am the Flash. And so whenever I went somewhere, I was always like sprinting just to kind of like impress people. Like, look at this kid. And so if I was in parking lots and my dad was like, hey, let's go to the store, I'd like sprint as fast as I could and look around like, and see how fast I am.
Yeah. Did you even see me? I was so fast.
I was so fast. Yeah. I was just this little 5-year-old kid running around at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And so I did that. And then I was always in like from an early age. I mean, I went to a super small school. So it's kind of like I was the fastest kid in a school of like 200 kids. So
was it like a public school like we have here?
It was a public school, yeah. It was right on the edge of, so think about South Africa as you have this big city and then you have these suburbs that sprawl out from the city, but it's more like farmland, suburb, farmland, suburb. They're all interconnected somehow, but they're little farmlands. And so I went to a farming school, not because I was a farmer, but I was the suburb that was kind of zoned to go to this farming school. And so now, farming schools tend to be really big on rugby. That's their thing. Afrikaans kids love rugby, and so I was the fastest kid, but everyone was like, rugby's the sport. So it'd be really cool. You had to play rugby. So even though I was the fastest kid, sprinting. I mean, and when we say sprinting, it was like I think at that age it was the 60-yard dash or something.
Okay,
like that. So
yeah,
that was as far as we went.
Yeah,
it wasn't until I started running distance, which was the 1200, so 3 laps of a track. And I started winning quite a lot. Then I was like, oh, actually, I'm not bad at this. But would never train because I was doing so much sport at school, and I'd play soccer 3 times a week. And soccer's like the greatest running workout out there. It's basically fartlek for 60 minutes. So it was never necessary. So I just ran track and field. I did track and field based purely off the other sports I did, and it was totally fine. Yeah.
And when did you start cross country?
High school was like actual formal cross country. So we do we have grades or standards. Standard 6, which would be the equivalent of an 8th grade here. You go to high school and now you start competing in cross country. And it was really an eye opener for me because it was 4 kilometers and 8 kilometers right out of the gate. And it was no JV or anything like that. It's like everyone runs, you run 4K up until the 10th grade. And then the big boys run 8K or 5 miles. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was so far. I'll never forget. I remember running like 4K thinking like this is the longest ever. Yeah. So
well, compared to like the sprinting, for sure.
I started off being a sprinting and I never ran distance. We never trained distance. So we never went out there and said, oh, let's go out and do a 2 or 3K. I would jump in road races every now and again. And I did a 4K once. It's called the Cinderella Run.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. And I did pretty good at that. Around that same time, I was like, I need to start running a little bit further. My very second race ever was a 5K, and I thought it was the longest race in the world. I got first and won a free karate lesson.
That's exciting.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
it's
that's
the first
so
prize I ever
great.
won. I remember that clear as day.
That's,
yeah.
I mean...
Never claimed it, but I just thought this
Oh,
was
you
cool.
never did?
No. Won a free karate lesson.
Well, you know how those are. It's like free,
Yeah,
in air quotes.
Yeah.
Like,
and then after that, you're in it
then
for
you're
the long
signed
time.
up and you'll never
My
get
dad's
out.
like, that's cool, but nah, you're not.
Yeah, no, we're not going to take you to karate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did your older brother run, and then did your parents ever, like outside of running to get the newspaper?
Sure, yeah. So my dad was always a ball sport guy, so he grew up playing squash. So the equivalent is racquetball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Always a good athlete, always been around sport. My mother was actually a pretty decent distance runner.
Okay.
So she joined a club called Run for Life, which is an amazing organization, which I wish we had it here, where thousands of people get together and they just train and run as part of a club. It's amazing. And she went all the way up to doing marathons, never really fast, but just kind of just super consistent. And she made that a part of her life for like 10 or 20 years. And so we would tag along to these races and do them. And we did learn that in that time, my mother went to for medicals and stuff and figured out that her resting heart rate was insanely low, just genetically.
Okay.
And I got that for free. And so
Yes.
I know. So it's running fast is very much a genetic lottery sometime. And so so in her running, she had to go for like heart checks and all that. And they're like, you have a really, really low resting heart rate. And so.
I mean, we always joke. I mean, like runners, there's like memes about how when you go to the doctor and your heart rate's really low, you're like, yeah, I'm a runner. But you're like even lower. What's your resting heart rate?
So when I was in really good shape and all that, it was in the mid 30s, like 35, 36. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which it's not really a predictor of success because it's the spread between the low and the high and the range in that. But it's definitely a good place to start. Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny. So you grew up spectating some of your mom's races?
No, we loved it, yeah. So we'd run up, and a lot of times it would be, she would do a half marathon, and there would be like a 5K, and I'd jump in the 5K.
Okay,
And then we did 10 and 15Ks were big things, but I never did those. But every now and again, my best friend, who was a great runner as well, would like, hey, let's jump in the 15K, and he would just trounce me because he was a good athlete. I was like, this is the longest thing ever. I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I would do good for the first like 30 minutes, and after that, I'd be like,
this is what are we doing?
This is miserable.
Yeah. What, in high school, what were the accolades that you achieved at that level?
Sure. So
I'm like going through your history. I'm like, this is nuts, Gareth.
Yeah, so I was very lucky in that the 800 is the big event in high school track and field. And just purely on soccer, I was able to break 2 minutes really early on. And so that was, if you can break 2 minutes back then, that was kind of really, really a big deal. And there were only a handful of people breaking 2 minutes on grass, right? And so I was able to do that. So we think of South Africa in 5 quadrants, right? Kind of similar to states.
Okay.
And we would have high school, you'd get as high as you could in your high school, and then you'd join club. Club is where you kind of go become like a state champion or something like that. And so once you get to that level, then it's a whole different level. So in high school, I was the quickest kid. I hold the school. I may even still have the school record, I think, in a few events. It's 30 years later, they probably don't even have records back that long. But anyway, so now within school, we had these, do you know Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have houses. And so we had houses and house captains, and we had school uniforms, and we had blazers, which were like jackets. And on those jackets, you'd get these like patches, kind of like Girl Scout patches, but a little bit cooler. And the higher you went in a sport or an academic or an achievement, you'd get the patches. From the patches, you'd go to a ribbon on the edge of it. And if you got really high, you'd get a different color jacket. So everyone had dark blue, and there were a handful of us with light blue. So I was one of those trumpets that walked around in a light blue jacket. Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
I know, it's pretty cool. And then, so I was, normally you only got that jacket in your last maybe junior year or senior year. I got it in like third year, so I had it for 3 years, yeah.
Oh,
so you walk around like a big shove, and looking back, you're like,
so you're just like a chick magnet. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
I have a light blue coat.
No, it wasn't that. It was more impressive for the dudes. You know?
Yeah.
You wanted it to be a chick magnet, but no.
Yeah.
You ended up impressing your friends more than
I always wish they had something like that.
I loved it. I thought it was the greatest
It's a great
thing.
idea.
Yeah.
Kids love that kind of stuff, like the sticker achievements and ribbons and.
Yeah. Well, I like uniforms because I do think there's class differences in kids based on what they wear, and it takes the guesswork out of it. So that's equalized. And also, just every day you go to school, it's like I had 3 pairs of grey pants. It's like, pick your grey pants today.
Yeah.
Grey pants, white shirt, tie in the winter.
Wow, yeah.
And jacket. And it took you 3 minutes to get ready for school.
Yeah, I like it. Right now, my youngest is in pre-K, and they actually wear uniforms.
Yeah.
And
that's the greatest thing.
It's great because it's like, here's your option.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to. She doesn't put on 8 things and take it off. It's nice. I mean, now it's only like 2 things: red or white shirt. You know, whatever. Yeah. I wish all schools had uniforms. It would be so much easier for everybody. I like the idea of the even playing field. Well, then you come in like shoes and everything. There's always something, but still, it's like a lot easier.
And also, if you compete against like inter-school competition is massive. I mean, it's big here as well. But when you went to events, there were everyone in their blue blazers sitting. It's actually pretty cool.
You would sit together?
Oh, yeah. It was almost like this is the student section, and everyone sat there because there's cheers and there's chants and all that. And
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
That's so cool. Do you still have your light blue jacket?
I think I do, actually. Yeah, no.
I'm really disappointed that you didn't just
didn't
rip
roll
it
up
out
in
of
the
your
jacket.
I mean, that would have been a good prop.
We'll do it. I don't know if I can get into it anymore.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't. There's no way.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know what, I do have it because I think my mother likes to keep like all these mementos from my youth and all that.
Yeah, but that's a cool one, especially if it still has like ribbons
what do you
and
do with it?
patches.
And
I don't know. Look at it every
not,
once in a
not
while.
to be too braggiose, I was also a house captain, which is a pretty big deal. So you had a little badge as well. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Yeah. Back to the Harry
That's
Potter days,
really
yeah.
cool.
I know.
Yeah, especially.
yeah.
Do your girls think that's cool at all?
No, I don't think I've ever really told them very much about that.
Oh.
I just don't think they care.
Yeah. Well, if they do, they like Harry Potter? Surely.
Ish. Do you want to know a
Okay.
funny story about Harry Potter?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I love
we're
Harry Potter.
gonna tangent here.
That's fine.
So I like Harry Potter. It was I think I read all the books right up to the last one, and I didn't want to finish the book. You know, when you get to the end of the book, you're like, I don't want to finish this.
Yeah, I don't want it to be over.
So I've never finished the books, and I've never finished the movie. I know, because I don't want it to finish. And so I read the books, and then, do you remember Pokemon Go? Remember the Pokemon Go craze?
I actually got into it for like a hot second.
Yeah. I
That's
thought it was amazing.
It was so cool.
No, it's fantastic. So they had that same company called Niantic released a very similar version for Harry Potter called Wizards Unite.
Oh, I didn't know about this.
Exact same concept. You walk around, you catch whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought, I got wind that this game was coming out somehow, and so I was like, oh. So I pinged my kids. I'm like, hey, there's this new game coming out. Let's start a little Facebook page because you have your nephews and your nieces in South Africa. Maybe it's something that you guys can play together.
Yeah.
So I started a page on Facebook. It was called Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Thought nothing of it. And it was public. And one day I'm like, wait, all of a second there were 1,000 people on this page.
Get
right?
out.
Yeah. Oh, it gets worse.
Oh, no.
No, it gets worse. So I'm like, oh my
gosh.
God, what's going on here? And retroactively, I realized that I got word that this game was coming out before the world did. Somehow it popped up, and even like the people that were playing it, like, how did you find out about this? Because I know the people later on down the road. Like, I don't know. And so like, I had 1,000 people on this page, and then this YouTuber started following my page and sharing the page, and he was a Harry Potter guy. Now we're up to 5,000 people.
Oh,
right?
boy.
And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? So I
Like,
thought,
I just wanted my kids to play
I
with their
just wanted my
presents.
kids to play, but now I'm like, well, what am I
That
going
is
to do with
cool.
this, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so then it starts to pick up steam, and the game releases in Australia. Now we're up to 10,000 people, and now I'm like, what on earth's going on here? Because I don't know what's going on. And my wife, she's an attorney by trade. She literally had an iPad going next to her desk, like answering questions. So while I was at work, she was like, what have you got me signed up here for? And then the game came out. And the day the game came out, there was a friend code thing. You had to like have friends in the game. So where do you go to
boy.
find friends? You go to the Facebook page. Now we're at 80,000 people. And
Gareth.
so for a hot minute, I think it was like a year and a half, we were the biggest Harry Potter Wizards Unite page in the world. I had to sign NDAs with Warner Brothers because they were giving us information before the general public. I was on a Discord server with all these like YouTubers, influencers around the game. It was so bizarre. My kids gave up the game in the first couple of weeks. Yes, and so eventually I was just like, what am I doing here? And I ended up, I'm still the admin on that page, but I gave it to the YouTube. I'm like, yeah, you just take this page and do whatever you want with it.
Wow.
And then Warner Brothers were like, hey, we are partnering with PS5 to do another game. Can you just roll up another page? I now have like 3 or 4 Facebook pages. I think the total 300,000 people. Yeah, so I have these random like Harry Potter pages that I have to manage. So
This is not something that I would
that was
have
not on the list, right?
pictured, like, about
Yeah.
you.
No, I've never played the game on PS5, but I have a page of like 90,000 people that are all like talking about this, and I just pseudo manage it. Yeah,
That's
So once a week,
wild.
I go and approve posts and all.
No.
That. Yeah, I have to approve the posts.
Still, to this
Yeah.
very day.
Yeah. What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What-
once you're the main admin, a lot of people this is their connection to other people.
Yeah.
And you see, like, we have all these chats going, and people are becoming best friends. So I can't, like,
shut it
I
down.
can't shut it down.
No.
And I don't want to give it to someone else because once you're the main admin, you assume a responsibility for the content on there a little bit.
Right. If you just give it to some, I mean, yeah.
And so, which I did with the other one, but I still have to kind of see, like, if there's anything pops up there, I'm kind of responsible, So, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Were you ever, like, interviewed in the media or anything for it?
Not in the media, but the big, they do these Pokemon Go fests where they go to a specific, there's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Simon was the main sponsor of Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Simon's
Simon
from Indianapolis.
Properties.
So the big Wizard Fest was in
No.
Indianapolis. Yes, at Military Park. So I had to go down there and we did a meetup. It gets...
And this is separate from Gen Con, too.
No, this is totally separate. This is totally separate. So I went to a bar downtown. I'm like, hey, can we host a party here? There's going to be like 50 people. We'll take a corner of the room. Yeah, where it's ended up. And we're going to do a trivia. So I bought the trivia. I paid for the trivia. So that we $500 in. We had about 400 or 500 people show up. Yeah, and it was this whole big media thing and everything. It probably cost me, I would say, maybe a couple grand for that night. Yeah. I was just like, whatever, man, have fun. Yeah.
You're like, you're welcome. People had no idea,
People had no idea. Yeah. So that was the night of like YouTubers and media and all that. That was like the one time where I was just like, okay, man, this is just out of control now. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I kind of want to download the game.
Can
you play it?
No,
the Harry Potter game's done.
Yeah. I think they closed it down maybe.
So what do people talk about on the page?
That specific page I gave to a YouTuber.
Oh, that's right, you did. Sorry. Okay, so the Pokemon one.
That guy, well, no, the Pokemon's... So Pokemon became Harry Potter Wizards Unite, or a separate version. That game shut down. That page was given to a YouTuber.
Yep, okay.
And he does all things gaming now around Harry Potter.
Okay, so
that's
it's
separate. The other game is a PS5 game.
Okay.
And that's called Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if you want to play
I'm not... Well,
yeah.
I'm not into that. You know what I'm into now, Gareth? It's like Pokemon Go, but it's for birds. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Merlin app. Have you ever...
I haven't, but it's like a Pokemon thing?
Well, no. This is hilarious. Okay, this is how I aged myself, too. And you're getting older when you're really into birds. But it's made by Cornell University. It's called Merlin. And it's like Shazam, but for birds.
I think I might have it. You can
probably
actually,
do. And it'll like listen for birds. And then you can be like, yes, this is the bird. And then it'll, like, you can save it to your account.
And you collect birds. Collecting birds?
So that's how cool I am.
There is an evolution in life. I always say it's sunsets, sunrises, and birds. And because when I was growing up, we would go down to Durban, which is on the coast, and with my grandparents, and we would wake up early and go and watch sunsets. And I thought this was the dumbest thing. And now that I'm getting older, I think sunsets and sunrises are the greatest thing God's given us, and birds. So I think there's an evolution. It's like once you start to enjoy those things, then I think you're evolving, or you become. I call it evolving, not getting old.
Yeah, evolving. Yeah. I like that. That is good. And you take really amazing photos of birds too, which we need to have a whole separate conversation about that. Okay, we've gone on quite the tangent, but it was a really interesting one.
I know, this was random. There we go.
Yeah.
You can cut it out. If you
No, how many people know that about you?
About that?
Yeah.
A handful.
Okay.
Maybe 10.
Well, it's about to be 20,
it's out
Gareth.
there. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in high school. You still hold some records, probably. Let's just say that you do. You probably do.
Maybe, yeah.
And is that where you ran the mile in 401?
No.
Where's that?
So,
that's college level?
That's college. That's actually, that's college level.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a pretty decent runner in high school. Around the age of 14, 15, my best friend, Gordon, he actually was an incredibly good athlete. He actually went and trained at a club.
Okay.
He didn't tell me about it. And so he went and did this training. And I really respect him for this because he wanted to beat me. And I was just better than him on no training. And he was like, well, I'm going to go and train to beat him. And the shorter distances, I think I always would have beaten him because I was just a little bit faster than him. But on the longer distances, you can't fake that. So he went off and trained with like professional coaching, came back and just whipped my butt, right? And actually, this is why he's my greatest friend. After trying to beat me he beat me in cross country, whipped my backside, and I was like super humbled. And then in track, I was a little bit better with him. And he actually then said to me, I've done everything I can to beat you. You're way better than me. Come with me. We need to go to professional training. So he was like, I did my best to beat you. I beat you a few times, but I know that you can be a better athlete. Come with me to this professional training. And I always respected him for that. He did his best, knocked it out, and then he was like, no, now I'm going to take. So he actually took me to this professional coach.
Okay. And what do you mean when you say like take you? Like, it's you go away and like
No. It's just think of so in South Africa there aren't very many places to train at a very, very high level.
Okay.
Because we didn't have many tracks.
Because you said grass earlier. I
Oh
caught
no!
that. You're like running on grass.
Yeah. Oh no! Our high school tracks were all grass and or dirt. There were only probably at the time
That's insane.
of growing up maybe 1 or 2 tracks within an hour of Johannesburg that were Mondo or the pink material.
Yeah. What?
So to run on that was like the greatest thing ever. And
but you did at least wear shoes, correct?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, when you first start running on those as a little kid, it was, yeah.
Wow.
I think I only started wearing spikes when I became like 14, 15 years old.
Get out of here.
Yeah, the first few years all barefoot. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So I went to this coach, and it was part of a club system. And the club system is they don't care what age you are. It's all what sort of performance level you are. And it's everything from beginners to slower folks to older folks. It's just everyone's like, okay, we're going to go to the track today, and we're going to do 10 by 400 meters. Okay, this group is anyone that can do it in 70 seconds. This group is 75. So I was 14 years old training with 50-year-old dudes. And they were like, no, we don't care. Just get in the group, and that's how you train. And I started training more methodically. And it was haphazard for 2 or 3 years, but I was at least training for that. And I made our state team through that to go to the national championships.
Okay.
But it wasn't until 2 years later when I was like, okay, now I'm a senior in high school. What am I going to do after high school?
Right.
And a friend of mine came to America on a scholarship. He came back to South Africa, and he was like, hey, you're right on the edge of being able to get a scholarship. A, you're going to have to train a little bit harder. And B, if you want to do that, I need to have a list of your results. I'll take it back and I'll see what I can do. And so he took like a running resume back to America, gave it to a bunch of coaches. But it's a long process. And in that time, I'm like, well, now I've got to start training. So I actually ended up going to a different club and training, not full time, but training what I thought was, okay, now this is a lot. It ended up being like 25, 30 miles a week.
Okay.
Which, when you compare it to kids in high school now, I mean, some of them are doing 60, 70, 80,
Which is
90
just
miles.
nuts.
Yeah, and so no, we were all like 25 miles a week, but
Wow.
it was all flat out stuff. There was
wow.
no junk miles, there was no added miles. We just didn't need to do it. And so that's when I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm good enough to go to the next level, which is get a scholarship in America. That became the dream. Now you start training. My times weren't incredibly good at the time for a couple of reasons. One, it was low mileage, so you're always going to be quicker on the 800 side versus the 3K, 5K side. So we focused on the 800. I think I ran low 150s, so 153, 154 in high school, which is pretty solid. It's enough to get a scholarship into America. And then didn't run much faster than, I want to say about somewhere between 4:15 and 4:20 in the mile was what I was running. It was at altitude, so give or take maybe 5 or 6 seconds. So I was probably about call it a 4:10 to 4:15 miler in high school. And that there was good enough at the time. The mile has made a quantum leap in the last 10 years for a number of different reasons. But that at the time was like, okay, low mileage, 4:12, 4:15. There's a lot of potential here. Some coach is going to take a chance on me. Yeah.
Okay. And then also your brother, did he stay in South Africa or did he go to America? Okay.
No, so my brother's like a genius, like I call him the nutty professor, because during high school, he was failing high school like miserably, not for the lack of intelligence, just because he was one of those guys that sitting down in front of a book was not his thing. I mean, he was building cars at like 14, 15, like from scratch. He was one of those guys, right?
Okay, yeah, back to the race car drive. I almost forgot about that.
No, yeah. So my brother was the South African racing champion at the age of 16 before he even had a car license. Yeah, and
That's okay.
No, he's incredible. Yeah. So no, my brother was always in South Africa around cars, racing, all that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. They actually, there's a newspaper in South Africa called the Sunday Times, which is a national publication, and they did a story of us. It was something about brothers in speed or something. And it was me in my running outfit and him in his racing car. And they were like, no, you need to look like a runner. So I'm like, what does that mean? And so I have this really weird pose, and I have a singlet on and long tights which didn't make any sense. And there's my brother in his racing uniform next to the car with his helmet, looking super cool.
And you're like...
And me in this like fake runner's pose. And I'm like, I look like the biggest douchebag ever.
That's great.
And
is that framed in your house? Tell me it is. Come on.
it's not framed in my house, but I think my mother has it somewhere. You know, it's
You got to frame that somewhere. Put it in one of your stores.
no, that's no, we're going to keep that world separate.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so then were you scared to go to America then? Because, like, that's crazy.
I wasn't scared. I think there's a level of ignorance a little bit. I mean, I look at my children now and I'm like scared for them when they do stuff like that. At the time, I'm like, no, I'm just going to go.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I literally got the scholarship, got everything sorted out. Now I need to get to America. Now, this is before the internet, right? So, yeah, I didn't even know where I was going other than pictures in a magazine type of thing. Yeah. No idea. It was totally sight unseen. Didn't even know what the coach looked like, and I had to meet him at the airport. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He was like, he said, well, how am I going to know it's you? And so I was like, okay, I have a Boston Red Sox hat.
Okay.
I'll wear my Boston Red Sox. He was like, this coach looking for me coming out of the airport.
Did he hold a sign?
He didn't hold a sign up. No.
That's what I picture.
Like Gareth Wilford, no, it wasn't that cool. It was an airport in Lexington, Kentucky.
And you're like, wait, how do I know it's you and not some random guy?
Stranger? Well, someone was giving me a lift to college, and so no,
wow.
I remember very clearly my trip from South Africa to Kentucky, which is where I went to school, was Johannesburg to Rio de Janeiro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I spent 48 hours in Rio de Janeiro, and then from there I went to Miami to Lexington, Lexington down to Williamsburg, Kentucky. Yeah.
Wait, what's the name?
Williamsburg, Kentucky is where I went to college, yeah.
Okay, and what's the name of the university?
At the time, it was called Cumberland College.
Yeah, okay.
Now it's called University of the Cumberlands.
Okay, that did confuse me, actually.
Yeah,
I noticed that it was different. I was like, okay, well.
Yeah,
Is it by Lake Cumberland? Is that down there?
It's in that zone, but it's not quite right there. No.
Okay.
It's called the Harvard of the South. Yeah,
you
can offer that.
I am going to laugh.
When I heard that, I was like, this is going to be super cool.
Yeah.
This is not the Harvard of the South.
Yeah, well, I went to Miami of Ohio, and they would call it like the Harvard of the Midwest. So
Is that what it is?
Look at us.
Everyone has the Harvard
I guess
whatever.
It's like the Harvard
Coin
of Ohio.
phrase.
I mean, I don't know. But did you have choices? Or did you get a scholarship there and you're like, that's where I'll go?
So when I started being recruited, the coach from Ohio State called me, and that was more of a favorite to a friend.
Okay.
And he was this, okay, this is what you have to do. After talking to Ohio State for a while, there was going to be some sort of offer there, but I didn't know the difference between NCAA and NAIA. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And slowly through the recruiting process, NCAA rules are way stricter than NAIA. I didn't know that. I didn't know the level either.
Yeah.
But what I did know that certain coaches were speaking to me more often than other coaches, and I assumed it's just like, oh, these ones really want me, these ones don't. And no, it's just the rules. They can only speak to me once every 6 months. I don't know what it was.
Oh, interesting.
But, it was like, but NAIA didn't have those rules. They could call me
like every day,
every week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you say where was I going to go, there were probably about 5 schools that I thought were legitimate options. I take Ohio State out. I feel like there was more of I'm doing a favor for a friend. Coastal Carolina.
Okay.
Was an official offer. Cumberland College was an official offer. There was a school in Kansas, and I don't remember the name. Louisiana something. It wasn't LSU or any of those, but there was a school in Louisiana. It wasn't one of the big ones. There was some smaller ones down in Louisiana, Alabama. Wow. But the coach at Cumberland, he would call me, I would say once a week, and we got to the point where we were past running. We were now talking about campus life, how to do laundry, how to get your classes set up. So we moved. He was really incredibly smart about this, though, because obviously you're coming from a different country. You need to know what's life like. And he got to that. He got to the running part very quick, and then he moved on to the, okay, now what do you want to do? So he was bringing in like advisors and all that. So by the time I'd made a commitment, was about to make a commitment, I knew what school life was like. I knew what training life was like. I knew how to do laundry.
Yeah.
I knew what classes I was going to be in if I wanted to. I had spoken to over the phone. Remember, there's no email at this time either. Over the phone, I'd spoken to an advisor that kind of said like, "Hey, if this is the route you go." So I felt very comfortable, and I really felt like, "Oh, these guys really, really are taking the time and effort."
Right.
So I'm going to give it a shot. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, Coastal Carolina, which is an amazing school. every time I spoke to him, he like it was all about the beach, and I love the beach. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, no, I'm here to run and study, and I feel like this is misguided for some reason. Like,
Right.
we're right by the beach. We can hang out at the beach. I'm like, I didn't want to hear that.
That's funny, because
yeah.
I'm sure for some people, they'd be like, yeah, some kids
This
are
is
like,
great.
sweet,
Yeah,
that's what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So
Kentucky.
Yeah, I know. Middle
So you
of
end up,
South
did you
East
get a
Kentucky.
roommate?
I
through
did have
the
a roommate,
process
yeah.
too? Like, were they like, hey, we'll set you up with Joe and he'll be your roommate? Or?
Yeah, so I had a roommate. So I was straight into cross country. So right out of, I got you in, I think, the first week in August.
And did you fly by yourself?
Yeah, totally by
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, to backtrack to Brazil, I got to Brazil. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to be on the Copacabana. This is going to be amazing. And I literally get to the hotel and I'm walking out the door and the one guy goes, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go for a walk. He goes, no, you don't walk around here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't know where I was in Rio de Janeiro. I thought I was close to the Copacabana. And he was like, no, you don't want to leave this hotel. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
So now I'm like 19 years old. I'm like, I don't want to get kidnapped.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to.
That'd really make my mom mad.
No, I was just like, what's going on
Yeah.
here? So I literally stayed in the hotel for 36 hours and I lived off Kit Kats because I didn't know where to get food. I didn't know anything. And so my 36
Oh my
hours.
God.
So yeah, that's when you're like flying
That's
solo.
wild.
I was just, because it's not that I'm not a confident person, but I was just like, I'm not going to take that chance. And also growing up
Yeah.
in Johannesburg, there's places you go, there's places you
don't
don't
go.
go.
Yeah.
You got to be smart. And I was like, well, I'm in Rio. When we drove in, we literally drove like through the slums, which is
The
next level.
favelas?
Yes. And we're like right on the road, and there it is there. And I'm like, well, I remember us taking an exit and being within 5 minutes of that. I thought, am I in the slums here?
Yeah.
So I was
yeah.
like, yeah. And the
I
door
actually-
wouldn't lock. My hotel room door wouldn't
Oh.
lock. So I was like,
That's a little
well,
unnerving.
and I wasn't that I was worried about being robbed. I was worried about my passport, because if you lose your passport, you're basically now in trouble.
Right.
So yeah, I was flow solo.
That's
one bag.
nuts.
I got to college with one duffel bag of stuff and dropped my bag. And I got there about a week before everyone else, so I can kind of just get the lay of the land.
Okay.
I honestly didn't know that I had to buy my own like bedspread, pillows.
Oh,
and all that.
right. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess you're like, okay, that you missed that part, Coach.
I
Like, you
missed
told
that
me
part.
everything else.
Yeah.
And how did you do laundry? Because I think that's funny that that's one of the topics that was
No,
covered.
it was nothing special. It was just, if you walk down the corridor, there's the quarter.
They had a laundry
machine.
room.
Yeah,
Okay.
laundry room.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I was worried about that. I'm like, well, how am I going to do laundry?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do I have to buy my own machine? Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what do I do?
I just didn't know.
I'm trying to remember how I did laundry in college. Did we have it in the basement? We must have had it in the basement of our dorm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now the kids have these apps where they can do it and they can
Jesus.
follow along.
Do they? They don't know what it's like to live.
To live on the quarter machine.
Yeah. And make sure you had enough quarters, and then
Yeah.
having to go down and somebody threw all your shit on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't keep track of the
You
time.
didn't keep track of the
Because you
time.
didn't have your Apple Watch with a timer on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's so crazy. You get to Kentucky. I'm just like, I can't believe you're in Kentucky, of all places in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, funny story about that. I knew Cumberland was in Williamsburg. I didn't know it was in Williamsburg, Kentucky at first. So I went to the library and I looked up Williamsburg.
Oh,
and,
no.
And what came up?
Virginia.
Williamsburg, Virginia. I'm like, this is kind of cool. So for I would say a good couple of weeks, I thought I was going to Williamsburg, Virginia. Yeah.
yeah,
And
just slightly.
so no, I ended up in Williamsburg, Kentucky, which the school, the architecture is based off of colonial Williamsburg.
Okay, so it was basically the
a little
same.
bit of a touch, yeah. But no, I also thought, and my dad was always very shrewd about this. He was like, you go there and you give it your best effort. You are running. You are only as good as yourself. So if you feel like you don't like it there, you need to make a change, use your running as a tool to go somewhere else. Because it's not like a team sport. Like if you're really good on a bad team, it may be like it won't show you how good you are, right?
Right,
But
right.
for running, it's like it's you, it's the clock, it's you against competition. So go there, train. If you feel like you don't like it, train hard, do really, really well, give yourself opportunities to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And no, I stayed there for 6 years. Yeah,
6
I
years.
absolutely loved it. Yeah.
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 And you ran track and cross country?
Track and cross country. Yeah, so it's actually cross country is considered its own sport. I mean, it's all running.
Yeah.
Cross country, indoor track, and track are considered 3 individual
Oh,
sports.
yeah.
But it's basically in the fall, it's cross country. From there, you pivot straight to indoor track, which is kind of now it's December through, let's call it March. Outdoor track is kind of March through end of May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 6 years. How did you not burn out? Or were there times where you were burnt out?
No, I first of all, I loved doing it. I was pretty smart on taking time off. I read a book by Sebastian Coe, his dad. You know, Sebastian Coe is a great runner from the 80s.
Okay.
World 800-meter record. His dad, Peter Coe, was his coach. And he read his book. And one of the very first things in that book was to train really, really hard, you need to manage rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I always assumed rest was giving your body rest, but in hindsight, it was just giving your brain a little bit of a check. And so when I started training, all right, now I'm training at a high level. So I'm committed. Everything's going to be built around that, right? That really only started probably in my high school senior year. So call it 17 years old. And I went really, really hard, I would say, till 26. So for those 10 years, I was all in. Everything I did was, the decisions I made for 10 years were all revolving around running. So it's not to say that I ate incredibly well, but I made smart choices. Going to bed early.
Yeah, not out partying like
No, that's not to
kids.
say that like when I went back to South Africa, out with my friends, we went out for a night or something like that. But I wouldn't have a long run planned the next day.
Yeah,
but I was very, very smart about it. It wasn't like 3 nights in a row. It was
Right.
like, go out one night and call it a night. And so, no, I had a youth and I had a thing. Burnout's a funny thing because there's many different ways for burnout, but I always enjoyed the process. I was always part of the process. I had very little injuries as well. And I always gave myself, I built in recovery days every week and I built in recovery times every year where I take like 3 weeks off and do nothing.
Yeah.
I know 3 weeks
Smart.
doesn't sound like much, but when you train at that level, it's kind of anything more than that. You're like, I want to get back into it.
Yeah.
You know? So that's never an issue. Yeah.
Wow.
But I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you meet Laura in college?
I did.
How did you meet?
Yeah, so her dad is an incredibly good coach. He was the coach at University of Dayton for a while, stepped away, and then the volleyball team was struggling at Cumberland, and he went to Cumberland back in the day. So all the students, when he was there, were now the administrators in the school, and they knew of him or were friends with him, and they were like, no, you need to come down here and coach the volleyball team and help with the sprinters. He's a good sprinting coach. So I met her dad first. And
That's kind of cool.
I know, it's kind of cool, yeah. So, and I think just because of meeting her dad, and then Laura was kind of thinking of what school she's going to go to, I think she was like, well, I'm going to go down there, you know. And so,
Yeah.
And she was on the track team as well. We met that way, yeah.
And was it like you started dating and that was it?
No, we both had significant others for a long time. Yeah, yeah. No, it was. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 years before we started dating. Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then it was really towards the end, and then after college, I knew I was going to kind of continue running. Indianapolis was the best opportunity for that. She was going to go to law school.
Okay.
And one of the law schools was Indianapolis, and we actually said to ourselves, let's go our separate ways, go and get sorted out, and then we can come back together. And it just so happened that we ended up in Indianapolis together. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you couldn't get
She couldn't get rid of me.
couldn't get rid of you. She
Yeah.
tried. She's like,
She tried hard. Yeah. She was like, I'm going to go somewhere else for a little bit, and if we get back together
that's
again.
cool. Yeah.
And
You're
then,
like, well, me too. I'm gonna go there too.
No. Yeah.
And so she was from Ohio originally then.
Yeah.
From
yeah.
like the Dayton area.
Ohio. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where she grew up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did your parents come visit you while you were in college?
So my dad visited me. So I came to school in August. My dad came solo in December.
Okay.
And I think that was just to like check up. It was like make sure his kid's okay.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's legit. And then from there, we actually did a little vacation. We drove down to Orlando and we did the Orlando thing. Yeah. And but then after that, no, it wasn't until later on around graduation time that they came. Yeah. And so now there was one time in the middle there where they came on vacation and I flew down and met them in Orlando.
Okay.
But never to school.
Never to school.
No. So it was, and actually in that time they'd never watched me run.
I was gonna say
No.
that's so interesting.
No, which kind of actually pains me that I grew up in that time. Not for any other reason than we didn't have the
Yeah,
internet.
the video
the
and-
videos
yeah.
and the streaming. It's like now, like if you want to watch someone, you can watch every race.
Yeah.
Now we did have a parent that old school VHS it.
Cool.
So there's a video of me running a race and 30-minute video and there's 10 seconds of like Gareth goes, go
Yeah.
Gareth, and so there's at least something out there.
Yeah.
And then if I went back to South Africa, I jumped in a couple races every now and again so they could kind of see, because my growth as an athlete from the time I left high school to college and all that, I became significantly better. And, and they didn't get to see that, which kind of sucks a little bit.
Right,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I'd call them. I had this American Express card that was like a phone card. Mm-hmm. Remember those? You may not remember.
I mean, when I studied abroad, I swear there was
studied abroad?
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this was before
Maybe.
cell phones. It was basically you call up, and I think the minute you got through, it was like $3, right? And then it was like $1 every minute. So
Yeah.
I'd call on a Monday morning, like, hey, just checking in. race went well, school's going well, came third, see you, bye-bye.
Right.
You know, so, and that was it, you know,
Yeah.
that was the extent of it for the longest time.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy to think about. Yeah.
And then they came for graduation, and on my senior year, I graduated, and I went to nationals like within a week after that as well.
Wow.
So they were able to stick around and watch at nationals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, nationals. And do you hold records still at Cumberland?
I know the mile record was broken. I think last year sometime.
Okay, so that stood for a while.
That stood for. I think all my records are. There might be a handful there, but now they're slowly eroding. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So, which is good.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is be there 30 years, and you want your schools to grow and get
Right,
faster
sure.
and all that. So,
But it's kind of, I mean, your name's on a wall somewhere.
my name's on a wall somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool actually. In the gym, they have flags of countries of students that have been to the school.
Okay.
And so there's a South African flag, and I
Yeah.
know I was the first one. Now, subsequently, more South Africans.
Yeah.
But anytime I ever go back, I see the flag, and I'm like, that's the reason
That's
they put that
why,
up.
yeah.
So there's no name or anything. It just says flag South Africa.
Right.
But I'm like, anything else can go away. I'm like, I'm kind of the first South
Yeah.
African. That's kind
Yeah.
of cool. Yeah.
That is really cool. Okay, so then you end up in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And at this point, you're still pursuing running, like as a
No,
professional? or
I literally moved to Indianapolis to run.
run.
That was the reason.
A quick break to tell you about this week's sponsor, Cure. Cure is a plant-based hydrating electrolyte drink mix with no added sugar. A natural, delicious, and convenient way to keep you and your whole family hydrated without the artificial stuff. I've been working with Cure for months, and it's a very clean, easy way to hydrate. They come in little sticks, so you can put them in your purse, your gym bag, just keep them in a drawer, and have hydration on the go. There's no additional added sugar. There's only 25 calories per serving, and even have a version for kids now. So there are flavors like berry pomegranate, strawberry kiwi, lemonade, that's my kid's favorite, watermelon, tropical punch, blood orange, lime. There's even more than that. So it's a perfect way to start your day, or just a great way to have hydration available on the go wherever you are. 75% of Americans are dehydrated and don't drink enough water and electrolytes. Everybody listening should be a runner, right? So if we are always running, we always need to be hydrating, especially in the end of this summer training where the heat's been pretty brutal. So for Finish Lines and Milestones listeners, Cure is offering 20% off your first order. Stay hydrated and feel your best by visiting curehydration.com/AllieB, that's ALLYB, and use promo code AllieB at checkout. That's curehydration.com/AllieB, and use code AllieB for 20% off your first order. Now, back to the show.
Literally moved to Indianapolis to run.
Run.
That was the reason.
And it was the Nike club that...
Kind
Okay.
of, yeah. So when I was running in college, I did pretty well, and I thought, I want to keep going.
Yeah.
I love it, and I think I can do better. And so you start to hunt around, and you start to reach out to brands. And as a foreign athlete, first of all, my running career, I'm level X, right? I wasn't level X plus, so I was never like an Olympic caliber athlete. I was right on the fringe, and. So when I reach out to brands, they were like, hey, yeah, maybe we'll sponsor you, we'll give you some shoes. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me.
Right.
And so, but I wasn't good enough to get like a living contract,
Yeah.
Even if it was just like $1,000 a month. which
Right,
I could
right.
have lived off that. to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I wasn't good enough for that. And so once I was starting to reach out to brands, someone said, hey, why don't you look at this group? They're in Indianapolis. It's like a farm team for Nike, but it's a club team, and they are looking to build a track team. And they will actually help you find a job. And so I was like, okay, so I went to speak to the coaches, and they were like, yep, we're building this track team, club team. We're looking for 2 athletes per event. So 2 people in the 100, 2 people in the 200. We're looking for a cross-country team, which is normally a cross-country team scores 5. So you'll normally have 10 people on that team, and then the 5 best will run, or the 7 best will run, and the 5 will score. So they're like, yeah, we're looking for runners. So I was like, I'll go and join them and all that. And so I was like, yeah, let's go up there and join the club and to see what I can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Indianapolis based. So.
Okay. And then what job did you have alongside running?
So they didn't help me find a job.
We'll help you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of pseudo did, but it was I had to go and find my own job because I was because being a foreigner, you live on visas, and the visas are short-term visas out of college. So I knew I needed a long-term visa. So I needed to go to a big company
Yeah.
that would sponsor that, and also to them, you go to a smaller company and you want them to sponsor your visa. You're not committing to a human being for like 4 or 5 years. That's a big of a leap. But if you go to like a big company like Target, I went to Target.
Okay.
And they were like, well, we'll commit to this guy. If it doesn't work out, so be it. He's one of 1,000 people.
Right.
So I went to Target and
when you say Target, you mean like corporate Target?
No. Target on the floor.
You're like a cashier or a store manager?
Yeah, no. I
worked in Target.
Yeah, I was a department team leader at first and then moved on and then I became an executive.
There you go.
Health and beauty aids and snacks. Yeah, candy section.
How is that all together?
For some reason, at the time, all the health and beauty stuff bled into like the seasonal. So when you walk in the store, you have these seasonal snacks, which would be like Halloween candy. But
like totally like the Reese's pumpkins. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's the bulk stuff. So the first, I think they've redone the stores, but at the time you walk in and you have your electronics and your whatever, your jewelry and all that. But on my section, all the shelves were seasonal. So you have all the seasonal candy.
Yeah.
And that went straight into your health and beauty stuff, which would be toothpaste, razors, soaps, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was my section. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild. How long did you work for Target?
I did that for a year and a half.
Okay.
The downside to that is once they have your visa, they can do anything they want with you. You kind of like become like a bit of a servant to what they want. And they were never, but they put me on the night shift. And I was like, hey, I'd prefer not to have the high shift because I'm still trying to run. And they're like, no, we need you on the night shift. And because at that point they were building out the super targets. And the night shift is the hardest thing to staff. So I was on the night shift and I was like, this is terrible because I cannot stay awake.
Yeah.
So I struggled with that. But no, they were super nice. I'm very grateful for everything they did. But that went on for about, I started in January when I first came here. That went through, actually there's a timestamp on it because right around 9/11.
Yeah.
So this was from 2000, January of 2000, right up until September of 9/11. Because my attorney called me and he said, hey, I don't know what's happening with visas here.
Oh, right.
And actually, so he sat me down and he goes, I don't know what's happening with visas. There is a move to get anyone of the foreign visa out of the country.
Okay.
Remember, that was the time when they changed the rules. They almost changed the rules where due process was like eliminated. And like, if there's any type of issue, we can get you out of the country. So he said, I don't know what's happening with your visa. You got a couple different options, yeah. We can write it out. And he goes, how far along are you in your relationship with Laura? Yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah. This is the most unromantic story ever,
yes,
right? And
I love it.
Yeah. So,
oh, my gosh.
So I was like, well, because he knew Laura. And he goes, how far along are you? So I was like, I'm like, we're great. He goes, no, like, how far along are you? I'm like, are you saying we get married? He goes, my suggestion is if at the very least get something down on paper. I'm like, oh, that's a big leap. And because there's evolutions in relationships and like, I think 10 is when you like propose and we were like at 3. I mean, ultimately we loved each other very much and we would have got married at some point, right? And so, but it's just like, oof, all right.
Okay.
I literally went home. I'm like, hey, talking about a visa. She goes, are you proposing to me like this? I'm like, oh God, yes.
Yes, I am. I don't know.
I am. I don't know what to do.
Otherwise, like,
no ring, no nothing. Yeah. And so my wife went without a ring for like 7 years.
Laura.
No, I know. So she's a champ. And there's a funny story in The Simpsons. You know The Simpsons? Mm-hmm. Where they didn't have any money to get married. And Homer Simpson gives her an onion ring as a symbol of his love. Mm. So to this day, she still rose me and says, like, yeah, it was the onion ring proposal. So, but we had to get married by November 1. So we got married on October 31st.
And so that was September. Now
so this was in the September month. So this was just after 9/11. So within the last few weeks of September, we decided okay, we need to get married by November 1.
Wow. So did you have a wedding?
It's not there anymore. There is a wedding chapel in Broad Ripple.
That would have been dangerous to keep around.
I think it was like the Enchanted Chapel.
Get out.
Yeah, so we went there and we, obviously my parents weren't there. So we invited a handful of people and the rolling joke is that it was so rushed that the guy who did the ceremony didn't call me Gareth, he called me Garth. And so, yeah. So I remember very clearly as I'm sitting here and I'm looking at him, and Laura's here, and my best man and friends are here, and I can see them bouncing because they're chuckling.
Yeah.
No one's correcting him.
They're just like, we're just...
Yeah, and so I always say, because we actually had another wedding in a church
Oh.
in the May following that as
Okay.
well, an official one for everyone to come
Her
in.
family probably, I think
I
about-
think everyone
yeah,
appreciates the wedding,
yeah.
right? And so hindsight, it's like, yeah, really. But no, it had to be done. But because I was like, well, we did get married twice, but you married to some guy named Garth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to this day, I have a very good friend that will text me on Halloween and say, "Happy anniversary, Garth." Yeah.
So, you got married on Halloween.
Halloween, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No.
You got married on Halloween.
We got married on Halloween, which is the greatest thing because I'll never forget.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get Laura candy every year for your anniversary?
Yeah. Through the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go. Yeah.
Got you something.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That is
So
crazy.
married on Halloween, and then our second wedding, which I always forget, it's like around May 27th or 28th.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And there's one person, her grandmother, will still send a card like, "Happy anniversary."
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She's the one person that remembers the second day.
The one,
And then
yeah.
we actually went to South Africa for all my friends and family. I had another ceremony there, so I literally got married almost
married
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Just make it stick.
Just make it stick. Yeah.
And now it's been 25 or
25 years.
25
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, and that'll be what year? So that was 2001.
2001.
And
Yep.
so this year would be 24.
Yeah.
And then next year
25,
years.
Yeah.
Okay. Which happens to kind of coincide with Blue Mile too, right? Because at that point,
Yeah.
that's when you left Target. And then,
Literally right around that. So once you get married, you can now start working anywhere in America. And that was around that time. Yeah. So I left Target right at that time. And I had an emergency work visa that kicked in the following February. So from November 1 to February, I couldn't work until that became official.
So what would you just run?
I just run and hung out and did stuff. Yeah, and it sounds great now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, so I went to, at the time, I was still running pretty hard, and I was like, okay, my running was stalling out a little bit because of the night shifting. I was just struggling to train.
I mean-
And it wasn't that I was running bad, I just wasn't getting ahead. So I was like, in this 3 months, I'm just going to reset just a little bit. And I did reset, and I did a race at Notre Dame.
Okay.
A 3K, and I did pretty good there. And then, so do you know Bob Kennedy? Do you know?
I've met Bob.
Okay, so you know of him a little bit. Okay, so probably the greatest runner this country's ever seen. Amazing athlete. At the time was the American record holder, first Western athlete to go under 13 minutes in 5K. Just amazing athlete, right? And so on the Mount Rushmore of athletes in America. And so
Does he pay you to say that?
he
I'm
does
just kidding.
now.
Yeah.
And so,
He
but
does.
no, honestly, he's an amazing athlete. And so I did this race, and this was on like a Saturday. And then on the Sunday, Blue Mile had some group runs.
Okay. And it was Blue Mile or running
No,
company?
this was running company at the time.
I remember running
It
company
was running
even
company,
too.
yeah. And so I went and joined a run the next morning, and it was just a handful of people. It was like the 2 owners, Ashley Johnson and Bob, both amazing athletes. A guy named Pascal, who at the time was the American steeplechase record holder.
Okay.
So it was like a group run, but it was like, man, this is a hot group, And so
Yeah.
all like hot shots. And so while we were out running, obviously we get to talking and all that. And one of the guys was like, hey, I heard you ran yesterday. How did you do? So I'm like, no, I ran 8:06 for the 3K, which is my PR at the time. And then he goes, oh, cool. So I thought nothing of it. 2 days later, I get a call from Bob Kennedy, just like out of the blue. And so I'm like, he goes, hey, this is Bob Kennedy. And you're like, yeah, right,
Because you know Bob
I
Kennedy.
know of Bob Kennedy. Yeah, no, it's just like,
You're like, what?
I'm like, yeah, this is really weird. And he said to me, he goes, hey, I'm in town. I have this workout tomorrow or the next day. I would love some company if you'd love to join. And so at first I'm like, oh, what an honor. And then you also, well, you're way better than me, right? And so I was actually in the time at the second, I was actually pretty smart. I said, hey, I'm happy to help out. I don't want to just be your rabbit. I don't want to get in a workout. If we're doing a mile, I don't want to take like the first 2 laps, sit out. I want to just be with you at the track, do the workout. And he goes, no, that's all I want. I just want someone around me. And so just because it's more enjoyable. So I did that first workout with him, and I was able to do 90% of it with him. But I did the whole workout. So when he got away from me, I was able to just continue and finish the run.
Yeah.
And a week later, he said, no, I actually really respected that, because anytime I asked people to run with me, as soon as I get away, they would step off the track.
You're like, oh, there, he's done with me.
And then they would jump back in, and it's
Yeah.
just like you were just there to kind of just run with me, and it wasn't about Bob's running; it was about us doing it together. And then he's like, that was kind of a test, I think, and I passed the test. So he's like, no, I have all these workouts while I'm in Indianapolis training. This is what I'm doing. Feel free to jump in. So we started doing workouts together, and then we started doing easy runs together, and eventually we just started running together while he was in town. And because of that, we started talking about retail, because even though I'd been a target for a year and a half, I learned quite a bit there about big box retail. And he had just started the running company. And so in those conversations, he was like, well, if ever you would want to come work for the running company, let me know. And I'm like, well, my visa finishes or starts in February. Yeah, I'll come. Let me know what you're thinking. And he's like, well, I can't pay you very much. So I was like, okay, well, how much are we talking here? He goes, well, it's not very much. I'm like, okay. I realized I'm going to have to either want to do this because it's not going to be about the money. And so I was like, no, I'll come do it. And honestly, at the time, I was thinking, like, this seems like a really cool part-time job until I become an adult, and I've literally been with Bob for 25 years. Yeah, so.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Literally, it calls you and like, come work out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was just a random. I had met and raced against Bob previously, like 2 years earlier than that. So we had met before, so it wasn't like totally blind.
Yeah.
I went to the grand opening of the running company.
Okay.
So I did meet.
Where did it open first? Nora? Was that the
Broadwell
house?
Avenue. No, Broadwell Avenue. Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Broadwell
I did know
Avenue.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the old BGI. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Because I was dating somebody at the time who worked for Rick Software.
Yeah.
And so that's how I heard about the running company, actually, because he was working with Bob and the team, and he would like be in the store. And at that time, I ran a little bit, but that's like seems like another lifetime.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, I want to say we were the first running specialists. We were the first running specialists to run Rex.
Yeah.
Through Blue Mile.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
And it was the running company for how long?
So the running company was from day one. I might get my dates a little bit wrong here.
That's
I want
fine.
to say for about maybe 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
And then we realized that a couple of things were happening in the industry. One, the move from running to moving was accelerating incredibly fast. So the name running company almost alienated.
Right. You
everyone
have to
else.
be a runner to come in our
Yeah,
store.
and also there were so many running companies around the country. The internet was starting to click in just a little bit, and so
Nice pun.
Yeah, it's just there was also a store called Up and Running as well, so all the puns were flowing around like crazy there. But yeah, so the running company, there was all these different running companies around the country, and we thought, the internet is probably going to be a big thing, or we're going to get lost. But no, that wasn't the primary reason. The primary reason was, and I'll give them a lot of credit for this, they're realizing that the running part of running specialty was alienating 90% of the possible customers. Your walkers, the nurses, the doctor's referrals, because of the name running. Yeah, and so the genesis of the Blue Mile was, everyone thinks it's the Blue Mile, which is the marathon course that they paint. They paint the Blue Mile.
Right.
That's a lot of people thought. It's very cool. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It was basically 2 words. When we asked about 1,000 people, when you're running, what is the one color that kind of comes to mind? And it was water and blue sky. That came up so many times. So the blue of Blue Mile.
Red for pain.
Yeah, well, yeah, you want to say from red, yeah. And so anytime someone had their perfect run, it always seemed to be like a beautiful blue day. Or I'm running along water. So the blue was that. And then the mile was just the homage to the universally accepted unit of measurement for running in this country's mile. So Blue Mile was like, when I'm out there having this beautiful moment, whether it's running, walking, we coined it as your Blue Mile. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where that came
I've never heard that story.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then Athletic Annex now.
Yeah, so Blue Mile, I want to say that was probably like 2 or 3 years. Around that time, there was this move, Finish Line wanted to get into running space. So obviously, Finish Line was right. So they sold running shoes in their stores, but they were more like a fashion store that sold running stores. They actually wanted to start absorbing running stores around the country, and they started doing that. And because Finish Line's in Indianapolis, they started reaching out to the owners of Blue Mile. Would you want to do that? And so there was this whole consolidation happening around that time. Finish Line then partnered with another company that was going to manage that. Long story short, Blue Mile sold to that group.
Okay.
The original intention was Bob wanted to continue going with Blue Mile, but the way the ownership agreement was set up, it ended up being in the other guy's hand. And
Okay.
so Bob stepped away. I personally, not that I don't operate well in big bureaucracy, but it's just I'm more of like I want to talk to individuals, and I want to kind of influence the community I'm living in. Right?
Yes.
And so and I just felt like being a part of a big corporation was just not the right place for me. So I stepped away.
Okay.
And then Justin Porter, who worked for Blue Mile running company as well, buying, he stepped away as well. And so then I stepped away, Bob stepped away, Justin stepped away. And then about 2 weeks later, Bob came to both of us and said, hey, I want to start this new company called eRun Solutions. If you guys are interested, let me know. I'm like, well, I left my job a few weeks ago. I've got nothing. I need something, right? And so we did. We all three joined Bob Kennedy again in this new venture. And basically the new venture was we built a warehouse for shoes that running stores could plug into. So if you have a running store in wherever, let's say it's Michigan, and you can't manage an online store, you just tap into ours. You sell on your website, but we pull it from Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic idea.
It is, yeah.
The problem with the idea is we have three guys who are running retailers trying to do an e-com business, and we got too big too fast. But in that time, this was about a year and a half project. Athletic Annex, the owners of Athletic Annex, single store at the time, they were getting to the point where they realized, hey, we need some sort of exit strategy.
Who owned it at the time?
So there were originally four owners, but two passed away. Tom Burleson and Bob Weddle were the two existing owners at the time. And then Matt Ebersol was involved as well as a part owner.
He was?
Yes. He was a part owner of that
I did
as well.
not know that.
Yep. And so when they were thinking about some sort of transition, it was either sell to the Finish Line Group, but I feel like they had stopped absorbing stores at that time.
Okay.
Or at least put a kibosh on it. Bob Kennedy, who had built Blue Mile to what it was, or the running company to Blue Mile, who was always friendly with everyone, they approached him and said, hey, would you think about taking this over? And it was going to be a take it over and then buy the store over time. But I think once Bob got in there, they realized very quickly, like, oh, Bob's the right person to take this faster.
Yeah.
And Bob, thankfully, said, hey, that's fine, but I have two guys that I want to bring along with me. And I actually knew Tom Burleson very well, who was basically the operating owner there forever.
Okay.
So, and I'd always got on him, even though we were competitors, got on with him fantastically well. So we joined there. Again, Bob said, hey, do you want to join me? Can't pay you very much.
Cool.
So I'm like, I've been there before.
Sounds great. That's what I
Sounds
love.
there, yeah. And
Love
so,
not being paid.
I think Bob's always been pretty good. Like, hey, trust me, I'll bring you along. And he's always been true to his words. So it was never a case of like, should I do this? I'm like, yeah,
You're
we're,
like, absolutely.
we're in. We're going to have to suck it up personally on the financial side for a few years, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe write a credit card or two for a while. But
Well, but Laura went to law school. Did she become a lawyer? What did she?
yeah, so she became a lawyer, worked for the government. So,
Perfect.
yeah, exactly.
That's
So
big bucks right there.
Yeah, some huge bucks, right? And so then she worked for the government for a handful of years, and then went to Humana.
Okay.
And then from Humana went to Elevance, which is the new rebranding for Anthem. It's basically what it is.
Okay.
And that's what she does.
Yeah. All right.
So she's not working as an attorney for them.
Okay.
But she's doing attorney work in compliance.
Yeah.
So not officially as an attorney.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
she's-
So she does it's kind of like me and my husband. He does the big he's the corporate.
Yes.
And then I do the small.
Yeah. No, I'm always going to
Yeah.
be a smaller community. Our customers are right there.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so then, at what years were your daughters born?
Okay. So Aslan, my oldest, was 2005.
Okay.
And Charlotte, actually her name is Charlotte Lulu, but we call her Lulu. It's her middle name.
I did see. Okay. Oh,
I know,
that's her middle name.
It's a middle name, yeah.
Okay.
And so, and also depending on the environment we're in, she shifts it, which is very confusing because,
For people, I'm sure too.
because she's in marching band and she goes by Charlotte there.
That's
And so when I
funny.
speak to her, I have to shout Charlotte. I'm like, wait, I haven't called her Charlotte in like 10 years, And so,
That's funny.
and so,
Where does the middle name Lulu come from?
So when we were thinking about naming our kids, we told the oldest one, like, hey, you can give the name for the kid. And she was like, well, I really like Carrot the Bunny. I'm like, just so you know, we can't call the kid Carrot the Bunny. But so Aslan comes from Aslan from the books, The Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Oh,
That's a derivative of that.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Charlotte comes from Charlotte Bronte as part of the Bronte sisters. Laura's favorite author is
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
there's Emily Bronte and all that sort
Okay.
of thing. Famous
Yeah,
author.
yeah.
Famous author. And then the Lulu part comes from, I think there was a character in one of those shows where Lulu was a character
It's a
I think
beautiful
it was,
name.
I think it was an elephant. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so I love the name Lulu.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I call it. To me, she's Lulu. Yeah,
Lulu.
yeah.
Okay.
And
All
she was
right.
born in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do either of your girls run?
No.
No.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother me one bit, actually. So we put them in, like, sports and all that, and we realized very quickly, like, no, they're just not interested. And
Interesting.
And that was fine, yeah.
Yeah, because Laura played.
Laura's a fantastic athlete. No,
you're both
incredibly
athletes.
good track athlete, incredibly good volleyball player. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it's just
No,
how it goes.
it's just, I think maybe like down the road they might find it in some way, shape or form. But no, never went down the sporting route. We're committed to their schooling, and we're always like, as long as you're doing something, you're putting your mind into it, good to go.
Yeah.
Lulu does marching band right now, which, to be honest with you,
You mean Charlotte?
sorry, Charlotte, yeah, for professional purposes.
Yes.
She does marching band right now, which is basically a full-time job. It's insane. Yeah.
People have come in to
Yeah.
when I worked for a short time
Yeah.
at Jackrabbit Fleet Feet,
Yeah.
and people would come in for marching band shoes for their
Yeah.
kids and they'd be like, oh yeah, they're on their feet for
10,
yeah.
12 hours, yeah, it's
I'm like,
insane.
what?
Yeah,
No idea.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like you learn very quickly how to time manage yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so at Athletic Annex, did you start doing like races around here because it was part of the community you were building?
You mean me personally?
For you personally?
Yeah, I mean, all through running company days, Blue Mile days, Athletic Annex days, I've always tried to. I mean, it's community stores, right? And
Right.
So you're always there, and I've always been a part of the coaching of the training programs,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've always found myself at these events. A lot of times, not running. As support
Well,
crew.
it makes
Yeah.
sense.
So, and embarrassingly, the one race I've never done, mini marathon.
Get out of town.
You would think that at some point I would have done that, but I've always done the X, and this
Yeah.
is not an excuse. It's really
It's not
lazy.
because I'll tell you I did the X, I did
No,
this and
I'm
that.
saying people do it, right? And so, but I've always just kind of like, I've always defaulted to doing the expo and the tent the next day,
Yeah.
which is a quick turnaround.
So
and,
fun.
And coaching. So I was just like, I want to be there for the people coaching. So I've never done it. So at some point I'm going to have to pull rank and say I'm doing this. And
Yeah,
so,
just be like, I have to. Well, it's the 50th year next year, so
it's the
maybe
50th, yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that's when
that,
you're
that
like,
might be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So any races in town, I'm at a lot of them, but I don't normally do them. So I try and kind of like say, okay, I at least want to do each race once.
yeah. So you can talk to your community about it
Yeah,
too.
a little bit, right? So I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know? And so I mean, I did the Fort half marathon last year. I mean, that race has been around forever, and
Yeah.
I finally did it for the first time
Yeah.
just because I'm like, I need to go and do this race. And
Right. Yeah.
I've
This
run-
year's 30 years.
Yeah,
of that race.
CNO, not the marathon, but I've done the half marathon. Did it a handful of years ago. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've got to do this so I can know what I'm talking about.
Right,
You know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
at least I know where the course goes a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've run all the courses and I've done, but not the official
Yeah.
races. So
Are you a certified coach?
no.
That's interesting.
Certified in my own head for whatever
Right.
that means.
You're
yeah.
like, well, I know I'm a runner. That's enough.
yeah.
But you're like
that-
coach and cheerleader out on the I mean,
Yeah, I think, I like seeing other people's success, whatever it is. I mean, we spoke about Prairie on Fire, right, which is a whole different animal.
oh yeah,
We had-
before we
we had-
start recording,
we had-
it's so cool.
we had 10 people from the staff running that, and you see them in the trenches there, you know, and you see what they're going through, and I know what it's like. And I know it's dark, you know, and I know it's going to get better, and I know it's going to get dark, and I know it's going to get better, and so I want to be there for them, and it's the same for our customers. We have the gamut, right? And so
Yeah.
the gamut is everyone from my doctor said today I need to get up off my couch and walk around the block, and that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
and all the way to folks who are fantastic athletes,
Right, like
And-
Olympic trials
yeah,
qualifiers.
exactly.
Or,
We have those, right? And so, but me personally, I played in this world, which was the elite world, and it was fun. But I really enjoy everyday folks, and so when in the training program, I like just to go. I mean, we have people out there. I'm not just standing on the moon and randomly cheering people on. There's
Yeah.
people out there as part of the training,
which would be
program.
fun too.
A few years ago, I did that when we didn't have a training program going. I just would string up a table with goos and stuff and just go and stand out there. And
There are
just
these
go.
guys doing that on the internet right now, and it
Yeah.
makes me want to do it.
That's
in
great.
Indy.
Yeah, if you want to do it, let me
Yeah.
know. We'll string
Do it
something
together.
up.
Yeah,
it's
it'd be
great.
fun.
Yeah, it's just people think it's strange. I used to give out free gloves in winter. I can't tell how many people turned it down. They thought, well, this is weird. Yeah. I had free gloves on a cold day, and I was just like, "Hey, want some free gloves?" No, thanks. I'm like,
You're like, I won't speak to you.
I can
Like,
see your,
just
I can
take
see
the-
your lips are like freezing, and I was just like, I'm not some weirdo out here, and so
That's funny. Yeah.
People know me a little bit more out here than
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
no, I just like, I mean, the Monon Trail's the obvious one because that's where so many people are out there. But I just like to be out there, helping people, seeing people achieve stuff. I will say there's been a handful of times when people have started crying out there because A, they're doing really badly, or they've done amazing. And that's kind of like really cool, not the bad part, but you actually see that emotion
Right.
from people, and you're like, I want to be there for those folks.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. And I've now been doing it long enough that I've seen people go through these peaks and valleys of
Yeah.
success and failures.
Yeah.
I mean, we have one guy that I speak to regularly. He holds onto his old driver's license, and he was like significantly overweight, but he holds onto that driver's license because like, this is who I used to be. And I'm not saying I'm responsible for that by any means, but like there's a 1% chance that like, I put him in the shoes and I helped him coach.
That's cool. It's
and
so
it's just
great.
like you take
Yes.
a little bit of like, this person's life is significantly better, and I played a insignificant role, but it's a role,
Right.
and that's kind of cool.
And they would probably argue that it's not insignificant. But
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, but ultimately it's them getting out of bed in the morning and putting one
Right.
foot in front of another.
Yeah.
So there's someone
Yeah.
if there's someone that just kind of gives you a nudge, or just makes it a little more enjoyable, or makes it a little bit easier, makes the experience just a little bit better. And I'm not talking just on behalf of myself. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our store motto. Mission is to empower people,
Yeah.
and it's just that's who we are, and I'm a big part of that, and I totally believe it. And that goes back to the whole corporate thing.
exactly.
It's just,
I
and
was
again,
just
I'm
thinking
not
that. I was just
bagging on
thinking-
corporate stores because they do a lot of good things, but it's just, I just feel like I'm personally a part of a company that kind of believes in that kind of local. There's
Right.
a benefit to being local because we're putting back into the people,
Right.
and it's important to us.
Well, I know. I mean, Larry Koblenz will probably listen to this, and he
Yeah.
is a
Yeah, exactly.
shining example of
A
that.
perfect
going
example
from
of someone
being-
that just, I mean, I could go through every single staff member and tell you every single one of them's a rock star, like you may or may not know who they are, but you know their face because they show up in random places cheering you on.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, I mean, Larry's easy because he's got the crazy hair.
That does help.
And so I'm sometimes rememberable because I'm like, oh, you got a guy that talks a little bit funny, and
Yeah,
so, but,
yeah.
and so,
Where are you from?
Exactly,
Yeah.
random stranger, talks weird. But no, that's who we are. We've got 60 employees, and most of them are out there doing all these things, cheering you on and all that.
Yeah.
You may not know it, but we're out there.
Yeah.
So- and it's not just the elite runners; it's everyone.
Right. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's
Well,
important.
like over time, as I've been doing this, I've met so many different
Yeah.
people. And then I find myself when I'm at a race, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I have like 10 previous guests here
Exactly.
running. And it's
Yeah.
so cool.
It becomes a responsibility at some point as well. Like all of a sudden, you're looked at as someone just a little bit different. People are looking to you for advice, encouragement, all those type of things.
Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah, and you're always on.
Yeah.
So if someone drives down the road and I'm out there running and they honk the horn, it's just kind of like, back when I was a punky little teenage kid, I'd flip them off. But now I'm like, oh, chances are I know these people.
Yeah, should probably wave. I know
Yeah.
it's hard as a female when people honk because it's just like it's either some guy being a weirdo,
Yeah.
or it's somebody I know. So I usually just wave, and I'm like, well,
always wave.
whoever it is,
I
whatever.
always assume they know me. And
yeah, exactly.
that's
I feel like that's typically
You must
the
remember,
case around here.
I also grew up. My peak running years were right after Forrest Gump.
Well, I thought about that when you talked about, when I was going somewhere, I was running.
Yeah. Oh, I
'Cause
got
that's
a
where-
present for you. Can I give it to you now?
Oh, I like presents.
Yeah.
Except I didn't bring you anything.
I
so
don't want a present. Yeah. Hold on. I bought you this.
No, you did
I
not.
did. So for the folks at home, because they're gonna have to go on the internet to
They
see what
will.
it is. But this is.
Yeah, I won't even say what it is.
You won't even
I'm
say
just
what it
kidding.
is?
You can say what it is.
It is a Funko Pop of Forrest Gump. And
Say it again.
Forrest Gump.
No, the first thing.
Funko Pop. You never heard these before?
No.
So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a new trend here. Let's see if it catches on.
Okay.
I think your guests should bring you a little memento, write their name on it.
I do like presents.
Yeah. So this is where I want you to put this on your shelf, if that's
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Absolutely.
And I'll write my name
I
on
love
it.
putting stuff on my shelves.
Do you have a shelf?
Oh, gosh. My office / like craft room is insane. I don't have enough shelves.
Well, I'm going to put this. Do you know what episode this is going to be?
No.
Okay, we'll write. Well, we.
I'll write it. I can. Yeah.
I'll date it. What is the date today? Ninth?
I was like, oh boy, what year is it, Gareth?
There we go.
I don't know.
There we go. There's a
that
little.
is so
There's a little
cute.
memento. I've been called Forrest Gump a million times.
Yeah. I love Forrest Gump. If you had made me pick a favorite movie, it would be Forrest Gump.
It's surprisingly good. Yeah, I can't get my kids to watch it for some reason.
What? That's how I watched it the first time. My dad made me watch it.
There we
But
go.
then, yeah, there's always
There's a
so
little
many references
podcast
to Forrest Gump.
memento.
Look how cute he is.
I know.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna
Well,
look
let
at
me
his
put on
eyes.
this.
Yeah, okay.
They're little weird things, aren't they? There we go.
He is a
There you go.
Funko
Funko
Pop.
Pop. You never heard of these?
No. You know what I have heard
Where have
of
you been
that
for those
I
2
might have to.
Labubu?
Yes,
I think it's the same company, isn't it?
No.
Pop Mart, maybe?
No, is it by Pop Mart?
I don't know.
Well, it says Pop something movies. I don't know the difference, but anyway, my kids got Labubus today. But anyway, we can talk about that when we're not recording because that's a whole thing.
It's the whole world, right?
It's a subculture that I'm learning about. I want to hear more about. You ran London this year.
I did run London this year, yeah.
Okay, so what marathons or races have you done outside of local stuff?
Sure. Well, other than the ones growing up in South Africa. So I kind of got away from big races. I went hard for like 15 years, and I was like, you know what? I'm never gonna be that good. So I step away, right? And it's a big disservice to yourself because you should never think that. But I had to get over the hurdle of I'm now out here running just for fun. And what actually started was randomly, actually Bob Kennedy, I owe him a lot. He did Rim to Rim to Rim, which is through the Grand Canyon. And he was just like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, what is it? Yeah. And so
Tell me you'd never been to the Grand Canyon.
I'd never been to the Grand Canyon before. Yeah. And
God.
so he did it one year and he stopped on the North Rim, but he wanted to go back and complete it. And so I was like,
course.
yeah, I'll go and do this with you. It sounds fun, right? What is it again? It's like, I don't know, it's 50 miles if you do both ways or 47. I mean, whatever it is, it's 50 miles in my head. But
Yeah.
so he said, yeah, let's go and do this. So we got a group of people. We trained for it. I mean, we did like 30-mile runs at Fort Bend at 5 in the morning while it was dark. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. And I kind of like started to kind of enjoy moving again.
Yeah.
I mean, I was running and all that, but I was like, that was really fun. I mean, it was hard. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Well, not probably, it is. Those things are like insane.
Yeah.
But I did it. And so I was like, I'm going to try and do, at the very least, I'm going to try and do one epic thing every year. Not races. It's kind of done with races. And so, but I'm going to do one thing. So I did the Rim to Rim. And then when you do Rim to Rim, everyone's like, hey, that's cool. Do you want to do it again? So I was like, sure, I'll do it again. I'll help you. So we did it again the next year.
What year would this have been?
Oh, man, 2016,
Okay,
2017, I think. And then in that range. And then when we got done with the Grand Canyon, a group of us were like, well, what are we going to do next? So I was like, well, I kind of like this thing where we can kind of focus on it, plan it for a year and do it. And we did the Wonderland Trail. Have you heard of
Oh,
Wonderland?
that's right. No, you said that.
Yeah,
in your
so
email. I'm like, what is that?
So the Wonderland Trail it's about a 90-something mile trail that circumnavigates Mount Rainier.
Oh, in Seattle.
Yes.
Whoa.
Beautiful, beautiful. Obviously, the trail is, but the plan was to do 3 days.
Okay.
And do about average 30 miles a day. And we did the first day. We didn't get lost, but we lost the bridge in this glacial valley that took us an extra hour and a half to cross a river. That threw us off. And then we were about 8 hours in, and one of our friends, actually his name's Drew Allen, I'm going to call him out by name because I hope he listens to this. He was the owner of Taylor's Bakery. You know Taylor's Bakery?
Yeah.
Okay, so he owned Taylor's Bakery for a while with his brother. But his sole job, what are the peanut butter and jelly? Is it like these?
Uncrustables.
His job was the Uncrustables. And if you've ever seen like 4 grown men just crumble because he forgot the Uncrustables.
Did you cry? I would cry probably.
I was so dehydrated the tears weren't, but I was crying. I was crying, yeah. We were like, can't believe you forgot the Uncrustables. Like for the 4 hours we were like, if we just had Uncrustables we would make this. But no, so we made the first day. And it took us, 16 hours. It was 36 miles. And all of us were like, no, we can't keep going. We blamed the Uncrustables, but it wasn't the Uncrustables. It was too hard for us to do.
Yeah.
Long story short, the adventure was amazing. And then we started planning the next one, and then COVID hits, right? So you're out for 2-3 years. And we've been planning an adventure for the last 8 years. We just haven't been able to get it out of the DMs, right?
It's so hard when you get a break, when COVID
break,
messes it up. You have to have that consistency to keep it going.
You have to have the consistency to go. And
you'll do it again, though.
We'll do something, for sure. We'll do something for sure. Maybe not as crazy as that, but I don't know. So having said that, then my best friend, Gordon, who was kind of the guy that got me into running, he was just like, hey, we should do New York Marathon sometime. And I was like, okay. Yeah,
sure.
I was like, I'll do that. And so we did. We did the New York Marathon together, and I trained. I don't want to say I trained the bare minimum, but I trained enough to kind of get through the marathon, enjoy it. And I was like, cool, I'm going to kind of try and do a race every 2 years or something like that, and just kind of build it into the schedule, keep myself honest. I'm not the type of guy that has to race every single weekend.
Yeah.
Just give me something to kind of work off.
It's nice to have out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going there to break any records. I actually prefer now just running the races and actually seeing what's going on.
There's a lot to see.
Yeah, it's just I was caught up in a world where it was so focused on how fast you can run that it's actually at the expense of everything else.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, when I'm running these marathons, I'm doing it as hard as I can. Right? It's not as fast, and it gets dark, but I'm trying to actually appreciate the surroundings, just everything about it. I'm trying to appreciate it, And so I did New York, and then
Well, how was the weather that year? Was that the hot year?
Great. Yeah, I mean, yes, it was like in the 70s.
Yeah,
which to me is hot. It's not crazy hot, but it was enough where it was just like, London was hot. London was like 75 right out of the gate, and
oh, geez.
and I don't think it went much higher than 75, but it was just felt hot, and it was enough for me to say, like, whatever you do, take double fluids, take double stuff at the beginning, because this is going to get dark. But no, it was amazing. So I did New York. And I was like, well, let me see if I can get into London. I got into London, and then
on your first try.
Yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that.
Yeah,
I know the sponsors. So
right.
through the
that
store,
makes sense.
Through the store,
okay,
it's a little bit easier to get in.
Easier.
Yeah. And so I'm very respectful of those relationships. But every now and again, if I call in a favor, not that I can do it every single time.
Right.
I was lucky to get into London.
Yes. Did Gordon do it with you, or did you go solo? Okay.
No, this is a solo one. But having said that, I think the next goal for me is, I think I want to do Tokyo.
Okay.
So it won't be next year; it'll be the following year.
Okay.
Yeah, so but yeah, no, I just really love the pageantry of it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. 100%.
I love watching the crowds.
So into it.
I mean, it's London. It's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
So actually, we made that a vacation. We actually went to Edinburgh for like 5 days.
That's nice. Is that Scotland?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the most beautiful city I think I've ever been to. We were in Manchester for a few days, and then we were in London for like a few days. I mean, we were walking. I think we averaged like 25,000 steps a day leading up to the marathon. I mean, that just goes to show you how serious I was taking it.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But it's just once in a lifetime. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. I would love to do London.
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you think it's going to be.
Yeah. I've done New York, which was incredible. Have you done Chicago?
I've not done Chicago. Yeah,
that's a good one.
I need to do Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately now everyone's like, "Wow, you've done 2 of the world majors."
Of course.
And South Africa will be a major here pretty soon. If not,
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be Cape Town, and so because they've already shifted the date to May, for that reason.
Interesting. When was it before?
I think it's actually. I think they're about to have it again. I think it's going to be October.
Okay.
But October would be too many.
Yeah, it's
so
too.
I think this year they have it in October. I might be wrong on this, and then they're going to redo it next year to May.
May, so that they can they're not as competitive with the other world majors.
Well, that's a gap in the schedule.
Yeah, it is, right, because you got March is Tokyo, April's
So you got March Tokyo, you got April, you got Boston.
Right.
You've got,
of course.
You've got London, and then May is the gap.
Right, yeah.
So I think they want to have a gap. Sydney now as well, but that just happened. So,
And what's the climate in South Africa? I didn't ask you that before.
Cape Town can be in May. It is winter, so it could be pretty chilly and pretty windy.
Nice. Well, windy, no.
When I say chilly, it's South African chilly, so 40s, 50s, 60s.
Okay.
It'll be pretty temperate.
Yeah.
Wind is...
is that in Celsius or...
No, that's fair enough. No, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, because that would be...
Cape Town can be windy. It's almost like it's 2 oceans that come together and there's different winds.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
And it'll be hilly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. I love following your adventures and your photography. Let's talk about your photography now.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple other quick hit stories that you mentioned that I want to make sure you tell.
Yeah, we'll get to it, yeah.
And then we'll try to wrap up somehow. I don't know. But your photography is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah.
Gareth. How did you get into that?
My mother, so growing up in Africa, my favorite thing in the world is wildlife. We used to go into the wild. Back to birds and everything else, right? And so I grew up in Johannesburg, about 3 hours north. It's wild, and when I say
safari wild,
yeah, full on wild, right? And so we're talking lions.
Oh my gosh!
No, it's
2 hours.
Yeah, I think it's 3, but
still, it's like Chicago has. That'd be crazy to think
about.
Going
to Chicago and being in the wild, right?
Yeah,
and so we used to go up into those. They are national parks. And so, and you can stay inside of them in these resorts, and the resorts are they're fenced off, electric fences, so elephants can't get in. Now, leopard can jump over and all that. So, monkeys can get in. No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I always used to go up there, and my mother always had a camera in her hand, and she would. Now this is in the day of film, so it was very.
Oh, I remember.
Remember film?
I spent time in a darkroom in high school.
Yeah. So, but it's not like you can take 7,000 pictures and find the 10 best, right? So you got to be pretty smart. And so, but yeah, so she would go into the wild, or we'd go into the wild, and she would just let me have the camera every now and again, and I'd just walk around and take pictures, and I just loved it. And then I got away from it for a while, and then about 5 or 6 years ago, I just said to myself, I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to get back into photography. I really enjoy it, and I like being by myself. I know this sounds selfish, but I like kind of like running. To me was just kind of like, that's my little space. I'm not running as much. I just need to have that little space where I can go and walk in the wild and take pictures and all that. And so then I just got myself a camera. I was like, I'm just going to start taking pictures again. I just enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of camera do you
I have a Sony A7 III.
For all the camera nerds that know.
Yeah, and I mean, I always say. So people say it's not about the equipment, it's about the photographer. It's a little bit of a lie. Having better tools does help on a lot of things. But having said that, just having, like, iPhones are fantastic for close-up stuff and portraits and all that. But it's the lenses that make the difference, by the way.
Yeah.
So no, the amount of money I spent on lenses and drones and all that sort of thing.
Drones.
It's embarrassing. Yeah, I've got 2 drones.
It's not embarrassing. It's cool that you can do that. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's grown-up toys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of adults having toys, by the way. So,
so. I support that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
it's just a fun thing I like to do. And,
you could, I mean, you could easily sell your photography. It's
I do appreciate that.
Do you?
I've had people offer to buy stuff a lot of times. I end up just giving it to them, to be honest with you.
Oh, cool. So I'll just go through your feed and be like,
can
I have
stuff.
this one too?
Yeah. And so, I like
really
that
cool.
people like it. And I don't want to say I won't at some point sell my photography and all that, but it's a habit. I like that people like it.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I know that's self-deprecating, but I'm like, why would anyone buy this? Having said that, I'm like, you really like this picture? Yeah, I'll go and print it for you or something like that.
That's really cool.
And also, I don't want to. I've had people say like, hey, can you do this photography to be paid? And I normally say, hey, there's a professional that does that. Go to the professional and pay them.
There's
for that.
so many people to
because
support.
I don't want the responsibility of messing it up. No, does that make sense?
It does.
And so, like a wedding photographer, I've been asked to do weddings before. It's just like, no, I'm not a wedding photographer.
Right, I don't know.
Go and look at a wedding photographer. They are pros at it.
Yeah,
and they know what to do from start to finish and all that. And so,
yeah.
go to the pros. I'm good at like, oh, you want to take a picture? Okay, good. I can get you to 80% on this one. Or something like that. So, So no, I don't want the responsibility of that. Maybe someday, not a wedding photographer. That's too much pressure.
Yeah, too much pressure, and on the weekends, no thanks.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole different world. But no, if someone wants pictures and I can help out, and if I mess it up and you don't care, then I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need that added pressure.
No, it's one of those things. If I go and take pictures, I either want to take 100 pictures or no pictures and be okay with that.
Yeah. What comes to mind if I ask what your best shot that you've ever captured?
The best photograph that I've ever captured. That's a good question. I have a few pictures of Geist. I had this one picture of, I was just playing around with it and I threw it up, and it's a beautiful sunrise, and there was someone skiing at like 6 a.m. and it was just sunrise, and the Geist was literally like a mirror. And so you see the picture and you see this beautiful reflection. That's one of my favorite ones. And that honestly was not an expensive drone. It was just, I threw it up and I saw it and I'm like, snap it and go. And so, some of the wildlife pictures I've taken I've really enjoyed. Some of the motor racing ones I've taken I've really enjoyed. I'll go to the track sometimes and just take pictures there.
Yeah, and what a bonus that you ended up in Indianapolis, like
for
racing.
Motorsport? Yeah, it's a bonus. I mean, again, back to my motorsport.
Right.
My motorsport heritage is not me; it's my family. But yes, it's a massive bonus. But I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
that's so
and I actually
cool.
I like Indy and I like the NASCAR stuff, but I like the like IMSAs, the kind of like the road cars on the racetrack kind of thing.
Okay.
I prefer that more. Yeah,
okay.
So.
Yeah, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. And then you mentioned, two other things at least. One was where you got absolutely embarrassed on TV.
Yeah, you want to know that story?
That sounds
yeah, that's great. I always say, if you look at my progression in running, it was like I got beaten, I try to get better. I got embarrassed, I try to get better. So losing and embarrassment has been the precursor. But there was this one time I was running the 1500, and it was the under 17 or under 19 national championships. So it was all the best athletes from the country by age group, and I was age groups in South Africa are in 2-year increments. So if you are 18, you're 18, 19, in under 19, so 2 years.
Okay.
So that makes a difference because the development is there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and qualify for this race. So I qualified, and I got third in our state championships. Top 3 go to the national championships. And I'm telling no one at this point because I'm not in the best shape. I'm kind of falling. I mean, I was the last qualifier to get into the heat. I was, it's just, everything about this race was I was stumbling into these positions. So I made it to the national championships, which was in my hometown. Didn't tell anyone because I'm like, I don't want to see me running. I'm not in great shape. But I'm making it further and further along. I'm like, last person in. So I went to the national championships, and the heats were in the morning. And at that time, it was the top 3 in each heat, plus the 3 fastest qualifiers make it through. And I was the last race of 4, so I think it was like 15 people total. I was the last in the last heat. All the other heats went really slow. So I got 6th in the last heat, but I was the 3rd fastest qualifier. I was the last person in. So I made the final. So again, I didn't tell anyone. And so I know. So I'm making it to the final in the national championships. I should be more proud, but I'm almost a little embarrassed that I haven't trained very well. I've fallen into this race.
Yeah.
Now, to understand South Africa at the time, we didn't have 57,000 TV channels. We had 4 channels total. 2 of them were like almost throwaway channels. One was English, one was Afrikaans. So those were the 2 main channels. So if you watch TV, you watch one of 2 channels. Now, when it came to sport in South Africa, rugby's big, cricket's big.
Okay.
So on that day, the biggest rugby game of the year was happening. It was South Africa versus New Zealand or something. It's huge, right? All my friends were either at the game or watching the game. And so I was like, great, no one's going to know that I'm running this race. And so I get to the race. Now, in the race are these 2 athletes. They're young kids, 18, 19 years old, but they're world class, right? One of them went on to be 2nd in the Olympics.
Jeez.
Like 4 years later in the 800. So like world class.
Yeah.
So it was a very big hype race. These 2 guys were going head to head. So I was like, great, whatever. So I make the final, and I'm in the final. And we're waiting for the start. And the guy comes out like, hey, we're delaying the start by 5 minutes. So I'm like, fine, that happens a lot, right? And then so you're on the track and you're doing your stride outs and all that, and then all of a sudden they're like, all right, we have a hard start of like 7:18. I'm like, 7:18? That's a weird start time. So like you have to be on the line, no false starts. Like if you false start, we're going to keep the race going, but we're going to pull you out. So I'm like, that's really weird. Because normally if you do a false start, you like pull people back and do it over again. So we're on the line. And now, granted, I'm 6 foot tall at this point, right? So in most terms, I'm like a head taller than most people in this race. So I'm standing on the line, and this motorbike comes out with a TV camera on the back. I'm like, oh no, they're recording this. This is terrible. That's going to be on the news.
Oh my God.
And then it's like they start counting down, like, okay, 2 minutes to start. And then I see a red light come on the camera. I'm like, oh no, this is live. Basically, what they did is they timed the race to be at the halftime of the rugby game.
No.
That the whole country's watching. They're going to show this race live at halftime. Everyone in the stadium that was watching the rugby game and everyone on TVs watching at halftime watching this race because these kids are amazing. And I stumbled. So now all my friends, all my family are watching this race. Now I'm like, oh no, this is embarrassing. So I'm watching the motorcycle. The light goes on, the race goes off. And the first half of the race, I'm fine. I'm in the pack.
I thought you were going to false start. I'm really glad that didn't happen.
Didn't false start. No. I was like, I'm trying to hide in the race.
Okay.
So I get going, and I'm running in the race, and I'm right by. I'm in the pack. I'm right in the middle. I'm in the pack, but I'm hurting, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually going to do okay, yeah. And then, with about 400 meters to go, these guys take off, right? And it's horrible. They are now dropping me like something serious. It was so bad that you can actually see live pictures of them finishing, and you see me coming around the back corner. They dropped me by like 15 seconds in the last lap. It was horrible. But you see them, but then you see me like behind. Naturally, like that night, every person I knew was calling me like, hey, good job, like better luck next time. And I was like, I don't want to hear that, And so, but yeah, millions of people saw me get horribly embarrassed on national TV.
Wow.
Which was at the time, I was so embarrassed. But then you wake up the next morning, you're like, first of all, I saw what it took to be really good. These guys were the best of the best, and they were ready to go, right? And I was not. So you deserve to be embarrassed. But I was like, you know what? If you really want to do this properly, you need to commit. You know, 'cause those guys were Olympic medalists. In my mind, I thought I could be a Olympic medalist, but at least give yourself a chance. You know,
Right.
Maybe not get lost. Maybe it would have been 5 steps back or 6 steps back, but you didn't give yourself a chance. And I was like, and I remember thinking the next day, like, whatever you do, just give yourself a chance to succeed. On that day, I gave myself every chance to fail, right? And it was national TV. It was embarrassing. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful I had that really early on because I wanted to be good. I knew I wanted to be good, but you don't know what it takes to be good. When you see guys like that, and I mean, this is a guy that was like maybe 4 years removed from an Olympic silver medal, so they were always going to be outliers. But I remember seeing them and seeing how good they were. Remember, we didn't have the internet back then. It was still pre-internet years, right? And so I wasn't able to watch video of these peers running amazing times.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know what was good.
Yeah, you weren't constantly comparing yourself.
You weren't constantly. I mean, I was winning local races, and I was like, oh, I'm really good. And then all of a sudden you come up against guys, and you just like get your doors blown off. You're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to step it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, and so this is a nice segue into what's your biggest regret in your running career?
Yeah, so my biggest regret is I don't have very many regrets about performances or training. I actually, when I look back on it, I'm actually pretty grateful to myself with what I did. I did everything I thought I could do, and I did it as well as I thought I could do. So I think I maximized that, but my regret, and this is pretty sad, my grandfather, his name was Dennis, my middle name's Dennis, so I'm named after the guy. Incredibly proud person, and he used to brag on his grandkids a lot. Now remember, he has a bunch of grandkids that are South African racing champions in motor racing and all that. And
right.
So he used to walk around like my grandsons. But he was part of Run for Life, which my mother joined as well. So he would always brag to his friends there about his grandson in America that was a good runner. And again, pre-internet, there was no proof or backup. It was just this random.
Yeah.
And they, you must remember, it's 20 elderly folk all bragging about their grandchildren, right? And so whatever it was, and so I go back to South Africa and I'm in really good shape. And so my grandfather's like, hey, we used to do these things called time trials. Every Wednesday night, clubs used to host a time trial. It was a 4 and 8K, and they post the results in newspapers. It was a big deal. So all the clubs did it. Every single club did it in the country.
That's cool.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And they would post the top 20 times. So everyone did 4K, 8K, and they would post the times. And my grandfather's like, hey, do you want to come do this time trial? So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And so I did it, and I won it. And I broke the record, and it was a big deal because I broke the record by a long way. And but I gave my name as something different, like just being a jackass. I called myself Johnny Danger. Okay. That was my kind of nickname because I loved the movie Johnny Dangerously. Anyway, so he was bragging to his friends. I thought it was funny that like Johnny Danger won, and it was the fastest time of the week. It was a really fast time, and so it was highlighted, but it was Johnny Danger. So he was like, "Yeah, my grandson. Oh, it's Johnny Danger. It's not his name, right?" And so I thought, funny. Right? Yeah, funny joke. You know,
really, it's like this is my legacy.
I'm the clown, but my grandfather was just like, "Oh, you should." So the next Saturday, right after that, there was an invitational 3K on the track, and I was invited to run it, and it was all the best athletes in the country were going to run it, including a guy that went on to the World Championships like weeks later and got second. So it was like really, really, and I was like in the best shape of my life. And I won the 3K. And so as I crossed the line, the reporters were there, and they were like, and now, remember, I'm out of the country. I've been out of the country for 3-4 years. No one knows who I was. No one knows that I'm a pretty decent runner. So they want to interview me. So they interviewed me. So what name do I give?
Johnny Danger.
Johnny Danger, right? And so I gave Johnny Danger thinking, funny joke, you know, it's going to be in the paper tomorrow. So it was the headline story in the back of this national paper. They got the name wrong. They called me Johnny Banger. So it was like the headline is Johnny Banger wins Elite 3K. And And even the pictures were like, you couldn't tell it was me, right?
Yeah.
So it was an old granular thing. And so me, I'm thinking this is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
Banger, right? And but no, it's a regret because now my grandfather passed away a handful of years later, and he never got the chance to brag on me to his friends and all that properly. And I was just like, now that I'm older and I look back, I'm like, yeah, that was a bit of a douche move, you know? And
Yeah.
so at the time, you think you're being a Chocolate
Right.
Charlie.
Yeah.
But I didn't give him that chance to kind of brag because he would have been like, you're super proud of me. You know?
Right.
So, and I was
Yeah.
just like, that's a douche move. So,
Yeah. He
Yeah.
was still proud. Johnny Danger. Does
Johnny
does
Danger.
anyone know that? Will they call you that now?
no. That was just my own internal little joke
Okay.
between me and my friends.
Do you have a nickname now?
I don't, no.
Like the Flash? I mean, now
No, the Flash was like a short window. Yeah, that was short for a few
Johnny
years.
Danger. That's so
Johnny
funny.
Danger was. A few of my friends know me as Johnny Danger, but more just kind of like more as a joke. More than
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
else.
yeah,
But No,
yeah.
I don't have
That's
a nickname. Yeah, so.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes people call me Gary
Okay.
because they don't believe that the name Gareth exists.
Right.
So they're like, nah,
Is that a South African name?
it's actually Welsh. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but no, because my dad wanted to name me after a famous rugby player,
Okay.
and that was a guy named Gareth.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, and people in America is just like, is it Gareth? I'm like, no, it's Gareth. And it's like, well, in America it's Gary. So Laura
Okay.
called me Gary. For
No
me.
offense to Gary. But,
Yeah, no offense to Gary's. Yeah,
But
so,
yeah, Gareth is
yeah, Gareth's
much
mine.
cooler.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
exactly.
I am going to ask you the end of the podcast questions now.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So the first one
Yes,
is, what is your favorite running mantra and or song?
song. Okay, I don't have any. I have favorite songs, but they're not hype up songs.
Okay.
Even when I'm running, it's very chill.
Okay.
I am a big Oasis fan, and I did just go and see Oasis recently, which is amazing. No, my favorite artist is a guy named Gregory Alan Isaacoff.
Okay.
Just a singer-songwriter, almost like folky rock.
Okay.
And that's what I end up listening to. So even when I'm doing races and all that,
Just
it's not like beats. It's just more just chill. Yeah.
yeah.
So no, that's about it. I don't really have a mantra on running, to be honest with you. I used to back in the day. I really felt like when I was racing, I didn't need a mantra. I just trust that you've done the training to deserve the result that you're given. Does that make sense? And so I didn't need a hype up phrase. I didn't need a hype up song. It's just like, you've trained really hard. You should run really fast.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And so, and vice versa. If you haven't trained, you don't
Right.
you don't deserve. You know, and so
Right.
so my mantra is more like, do the work, put yourself in a good position to succeed, and then just get out there and run as fast as you can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then I was just thinking about Jake Hostetler because of the music thing too. Because I think he said the same thing. Like he listens to like chill,
Yeah.
nothing like super crazy.
No, but he's real music though.
And he does.
He's a real musician.
He
Yeah,
he
yeah,
does the
yeah.
intro music to this. He did the intro.
Did he really?
to the
Yeah. No. He's
podcast.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
so talented.
So
Okay.
also just did 100 miles on the weekend.
Yeah. Just a side note.
Yeah.
My God, congratulations, Jake. This is nuts.
To all of them. Yeah.
All of them, absolutely. Everybody who did 1 yard to what is it, 30? I can't remember how many they got to. 38, 37.
I don't know what they got to, but I know I think someone got to like 150 miles.
It was.
which is
I think
just-
it was over that. I think that
it's
is
just
true.
insane.
It's nuts. Okay, so and then this next question is, what's your next finish line and/or milestone?
Sure. If we're talking specifically about running, I do think I want to do some more of the marathons out there, but more like a tourist. And so yeah, we did mention Tokyo, Japan. I have
Yeah.
been to Japan before, and I'd like to go back. It's probably one of my favorite countries. So I'd probably like to do Tokyo. In general, I know this sounds ridiculous, but just trying to figure out the next steps in life for myself. This is becoming an existential crisis, right? So I'm 50 years old now. I've been in running specialty for 25 years. I have no plans to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, where are the stores going to go for the next, 5, 10 years?
Right.
And then what is I am an owner or part owner of the stores. So what is the legacy and the transition there? And so you have to plan those things 5, 10 years out in advance, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so my kids I have one kid in college. I have another kid that is going to be in college in 3 or 4 years. That's empty nest syndrome right there.
Right.
Pretty daunting. Just kind of figure out like, what do the next 5, 10 years look like?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, I'm a big adventure guy.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, you've no shortage of like interests.
no,
so-
I've got plenty interests. And so I always say your interests got to have purpose.
Yeah.
And purpose is what drives you, and finding those purposes behind those things, whatever it may be. And so,
Yeah.
And that's what gets you from 50 to 60 and 60 to 80. If you don't have any purpose, you're probably going to have a miserable, retirement.
Right. Yeah. I think about purpose a lot. I'm almost 40.
I think purpose is the most important thing. Yeah. Whatever
Yeah.
it is, just have some sort of purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do feel like the more purpose you have around other people, the more fulfilling your life is.
Yeah.
More and more and more. So and again, to go back to kind of, being a cheerleader for people, that's the world I know, and I don't claim to know much else than that, but I do know what people are going through on the moan at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I know it.
Right.
I've been there. I've had the highs, I've had the lows, and I've had the middle.
Yeah.
So there's a genuine purpose to me being wherever, whether it's at Prairie on Fire, CNO, Mini Marathon, Carmel, any one of those races. If you see me out there and I'm on the side and I'm cheering you on, I'm not just cheering you on because I'm cheering you on. I'm like, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
And I think that, and a lot of them I've helped get to there, or at least got to the start line. That's their journey. So at least have a little, even if it's as simple as like, oh, I'm wearing cotton socks. Oh, maybe you should try microfiber socks. That's
some Belega socks.
Just some Belega socks. I grew up there. So just something along the lines to say like, hey, I've helped that experience be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I'm okay being proud of that, So I don't not want to be proud that I've helped people along the way, because I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Also understand that it's just this little piece that you've helped them, but it's a little piece,
Yeah,
So,
it's something.
yeah, it's something. Yeah. So.
This has been so fun.
Yeah, there's a lot more stories.
There's so many more stories.
Yeah, we'll have to run it back. Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
You're very
welcome. Thank you
welcome.
for my gift. That's
You're
so
welcome.
kind of you.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Hopefully people will listen to this and just start bringing you gifts.
Oh, my gosh.
Or it's just going to be the one lone Forrest Gump scene.
I mean, if I only get one gift, at least it's better than nothing.
Yeah. I actually got 2 gifts. Do you want me to give you other gift?
You got me another gift?
I got 2 gifts, yeah. You want another?
Wait, did you have other things to show?
What's that?
Did you forget the props?
To show, but you can decide whether you want to do it or not. But I will say the coolest thing I've ever done before in my life was I went to the World Championships in Osaka, and they gave out these collectible mementos to everyone. That's part of Mizuno. And I was like, you need to have that. So that's the collectible mascot towel that they gave out to a handful of people. I was like, you know what? I think you would enjoy that.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Am I allowed to, open it and use it, or no?
I used to think it was okay to do that, but I don't know what the protocol is on collectibles.
Oh, no. It is a collectible, so I will not open it.
I don't know if it's a collectible or not. You do whatever you want to do with it.
Well, because back to Labubu's, my kid wants to cut off the tag on it, and I was like,
is that the thing? You're not supposed to...
I don't know. I'm not going to ever resell it.
I went to the Labubu store, the Pop Mart store in Chicago.
Oh, my God.
I was there at opening, and I was like,
weren't.
Right at opening, there were 50 people. I'm like, I got to go in. And then I stood there saying, do I need to buy a Labubu for some reason? I almost got caught up in it. I didn't buy Labubu. So
you didn't. You missed your chance. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to go. We got to go.
Cool.
But then you're going to show me the other stuff offline because I want to see what you got.
Maybe we'll throw it up on Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
Like
that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you everybody who's listened.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Do you know this is my first podcast?
It's not.
It is.
That explains why I couldn't find an interview that you've done previously.
Is that what it was?
I looked and there was nothing. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, well, maybe it's it was a while ago.
Well, I will say the first time I met you personally, we've been around each other a lot, but the first time, you said I was a little bit intimidating, so you didn't want to kind of approach me about interviewing. So I hope I'm not as intimidating.
No, not at all.
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah, now that you've told me embarrassing stories about yourself, I feel very
there's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more, don't you worry.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Well, thank you. And thanks to everybody who listened.
Yeah,
and happy running.
There we go.
Hooray.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, totally.
If you enjoyed this episode of Finish Lines and Milestones from Sandy Boy Productions, please share, rate, review, comment, all the things. If you would like to be friends on the internet, I am Allie, ALYT Brett, BRETT, Allie T Brett _runs. And I realize I put my foot in my mouth because Gareth is the only guest that's brought me a gift. I specifically now remember thinking back, it's been a long time, Eileen Poor brought me something. And maybe someone else has too, and now I feel like a jerk. But you guys are all my favorite, you know that. So I'm also planning an event with Gareth and Athletic Annex and Brooks and Lindsay Hine for the day of the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. So check out the link in the show notes for that if you are running Indianapolis. And if you want to track me this weekend, Marine Corps Marathon app. I am so excited and so nervous and can't wait to tell you all about it. But yeah, thank you so much for all the good vibes. I need it. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.